The echo of that chuckle still hangs in the air, a cold sound against the silence. The answer was in the palm of my hand all along, and the weight of it is a stone in my gut. But before we step inside, like the video and subscribe if you enjoy stories like this. To understand why, you must enter the inner circle. Jiang Fan chuckled and said, "So she has some reputation, huh?" It seems I was ignorant, not knowing that the Desire sect had such an impressive elite disciple. However, Liu Qingxian shook her head. "No, I didn't hear the name from the disciples. It was from the mouths of several Supreme Elders." "Huh?" Jiang Fan showed a look of confusion. Why would the Supreme Elders of the Green Cloud Sect talk about a disciple from the Desire sect? And moreover, a disciple who is in seclusion most of the time and unseen. What did they say? Jiang Fan asked. Liu Qingxian pondered for a while and then said, "I forgot. I just thought the name sounded nice, taken from a line in a poem, so it left an impression on me. As for the rest, I don't quite remember." Poem. Jiang Fan thought for a moment. Soon he figured out which poem it was. "A pearl in the sea has tears, while jade and lanchin glows in the warmth of the sun." It should be this poem. The name Yue Mingzhu, just those 3 words, doesn't actually sound very nice at first and might even seem a bit gaudy. But combined with this poem, it has a somewhat romantic fragrance. If you don't remember, then let it go. There's probably nothing important, Jiang Fan said. Liu Qingxian nodded and hesitated for a moment, then said, "She treats you better than her own life. You should treat her well in return. If I get the chance, I will make friends with her as well." Jiang Fan was stunned. Shouldn't Liu Qingxian be jealous? Just like she was earlier, he had no idea what Liu Qingxian was really thinking. Although I have revealed my feelings to Fan and he accepted. But Su Yoren is someone I can't avoid. She is the real fiancé, and if she doesn't accept me, it will be difficult for me to rightfully be with Jiang Fan. But I can't just bow my head to her. Instead, it might be better to join forces with this Yue Mingzhu. Although I don't know if it will help, it's better than fighting alone. Soon, the 2 arrived in front of the command post. Nangong Zioyan was busy registering the mission execution status of the returning disciples. Perhaps due to Jiang Fan's previous criticism, her temper had indeed lessened a lot. Just as Jiang Fan rode by forward, a Tenjiang spirit beast filled with murderous aura forcefully passed by. Its huge hooves nearly tipped over the 3 Zhangtao Bai. "Your granny, are you blind?" Bai angrily cursed. Liu Qingxian glanced at the spirit beast's owner and hurriedly said, "SHH. Don't speak." Jiang Fan looked over in confusion and saw a particularly strong and cold young man with slightly golden skin. He carried a long comparable to heaven halberd on his back. His bare upper body had sharply defined muscle lines as if chiseled out. Muscles bulged, densely packed across his body, filled with explosive power, giving the visual impact of a human beast. "Is he from the Giant Sect?" Jiang Fan asked. The characteristics of the disciples from the Giant Sect were too obvious to miss. Liu Qingxian nodded with a hint of dread in her eyes and said, "Jin Zhongming, chief disciple of the Giant Sect." She bit her red lip while looking at Jin Zhongming's back with suppressed anger in her eyes. "Did he bully you?" Jiang Fan saw the reaction and asked. Liu Qingxian quickly hid her emotions with a smile and said, "How could he?" "I stay out of the Giant Sect's business," she couldn't continue. Because Jiang Fan took out the Gale Pearl from his pocket, the one that Zhu Wancheng had snatched away. "How did it end up in your hands?" Liu Qingxian immediately took it, her eyes filled with the joy of recovering something lost. Jiang Fan said, "I took it from Sun Keazong. He said you gave it to him." Liu Qingxian immediately said, "How could that be? He snatched." She lowered her head, stuck out her tongue, and said, "I didn't mean to deceive you. I just knew that if I told you the truth, you would seek justice for me. That would offend the Giant Sect. The disciples of the Giant Sect are very strong. Not to mention Jin Zhongming, even Zhu Wancheng under him would be comparable to a chief disciple in any sect. I want to avenge my own grudges. Fan, you need to focus on your cultivation. These things aren't something you can worry about now." Jiang Fan didn't say much more. He rode by to the front of the command post. But a series of amazed exclamations came from the front. No wonder Jin Zhongming, a heaven-level mission, and he actually completed it. Since the mission was issued, there have only been 4 heaven-level missions. One was completed by Xia Caoj. Today, another one was completed. I heard Jin Zhongming's task this time was to infiltrate an area guarded by a 5th level of core formation demon beast and rescue hostages. Yes, although one was unfortunately killed, he successfully brought back 4, making the mission a great success. Heaven-level missions often come with great risks. Even daring to accept one requires tremendous courage. Being able to complete it requires unmatched strength. Looking across the nine-sect land, there were only a few disciples who could accomplish such tasks. Nangong Xiaoyan was also a bit surprised. Jin Zhongming had been gone for 10 days, and she thought the mission had failed. Unexpectedly, he successfully brought back 5 hostages. They were all young members of the human clan captured during battles with the demon beasts at the front lines. Although they were not top elites like Liu Qingxian and her team, they were still rare talents, and the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion valued their rescue greatly. This matter even alerted Yikangyuan in the camp. He personally came out looking at the 4 wounded but still alive youths, showing a look of satisfaction. Jin Zhongming, well done. Jin Zhongming, who was on the spirit beast, immediately dismounted. In front of Yikangyuan, he dared not be aloof, cupped his hands, and said, "Vice Pavilion Master Yi, you're overpraising. This disciple only did his best." Yikangyuan praised, "Doing your best. That's good. Charging into an area guarded by a 5th level of core formation demon beast to rescue people is more than just doing your best. With such strength, once you enter the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion for further training, I can't imagine what your future holds." To receive such unreserved praise from the usually stern Yikangyuan was a first for Jin Zhongming. Everyone vaguely sensed that Yikangyuan seemed to have an intention of making him a disciple. "Xiaoyan, mark his accomplishment as complete," Yikangyuan said with a smile. Nangong Xiaoyan paused and said, "But Vice Pavilion Master Yi, according to the rules, he was supposed to rescue 5 people, but actually rescued 4. The mission completion rate should be calculated at 80%. Jin Zhongming had succeeded in rescuing people, but hadn't completely finished the task. Yikangyuan said, "Don't be too harsh. Being able to complete this task was extremely difficult. Giving him full credit also serves as an incentive for other disciples." The disciples around all cheered. "Vice Pavilion Master Yi is generous." Exactly, for the same heaven-level rescue mission, that Jiang Fan could consider himself lucky just to keep his life. Senior brother Jin rescued 4 people. Isn't it fair to give him full credit? With Vice Pavilion Master Yi speaking, and some disciples supporting, Nangong Xiaoyan had no choice but to take up her pen and prepare to record full credit. At that moment, a faint voice was heard. "If he receives full credit, what should I get?" Huh, the crowd was astonished. They weren't surprised that someone dared to challenge Jin Zhongming, but rather, who had the audacity to compare their mission to Jin Zhongming's. Jin Zhongming was executing the most dangerous heaven-level mission, not an earth-level and certainly not a profound-level task. However, when they saw who it was, everyone was dumbfounded. Jiang Fan, isn't he the one who executed the Tai Lake rescue mission? Why has he returned? Nangong Xiaoyan immediately noticed her familiar Bai. Then she looked up and saw Jiang Fan standing atop with his arms crossed. Overjoyed, she dropped her pen and ran over. "Junior brother Jiang, you're back. I was so worried about you." Jiang Fan jumped down with a smile, gestured. "Were you worried about me or your Bai?" Nangong Xiaoyan's smile faded. "You always taking my kindness as ill intentions." But seeing Jiang Fan's persistent smirk, she couldn't hold back and said sheepishly, "All right, I admit I was really worried about Bai. But I was concerned about you too. Really, I swear." Jiang Fan patted her head, smiling. "Don't worry, Bai is doing very well with me." Bai was treated like a family member by Nangong Xiaoyan. How could she not be concerned? Nangong Xiaoyan quickly inspected Bai after a few days of not seeing him. To her surprise, not only was he uninjured, but his realm had also significantly improved, almost breaking through to the 4th level of core formation. "What, Bai? You're about to break through?" Nangong Xiaoyan exclaimed in astonishment. Considering Bai's situation, it should have taken at least another year to reach the breakthrough edge. Following Jiang Fan on a mission seemed like a golden opportunity, showing immediate signs of breakthrough. Bai happily pranced around. "Brother Jiang Fan gave me something amazing." It was clam meat, of course. However, Bai cleverly remembered Jiang Fan's words, not to tell anyone, including his master. Nangong Xiaoyan was overjoyed, holding Jiang Fan's hand. "Thank you, junior brother Jiang, thank you." She rolled her eyes and said, "When are you going on your next mission? Make sure to take Bai with you." She used to be very reluctant to lend Bai out. Now she wanted to beg Jiang Fan to borrow him more often. Then the next time he comes back, Bai breaks through to the 4th level of core formation, then to the 5th level next time, and eventually to the nascent soul realm. And she could rely on a nascent soul spirit beast, living a carefree life thereafter. Jiang Fan was exasperated, I just got back, haven't even sat down, and you're already sending me off. Hurry up and register my mission. Nangong Zioyan then remembered the critical matter, expressing concern. Oh right, how did you do with your mission? Did you fail? Actually, it's okay if you failed. This mission, just in the few days you were gone, has been escalated for the elders to execute. Failing isn't disgraceful, returning alive is a blessing. Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion must have obtained some intelligence. They urgently elevated the task to the elders' level. This was no longer a task disciples could execute. Jin Zhongming's sharp gaze locked onto him, emanating an oppressive aura. Do you have a problem with my mission? The whole place fell silent. Many people looked at Jiang Fan with schadenfreude. Rescuing people is noble. Who is he to criticize? If he's capable, he should have succeeded and rescued people from Tai Lake. Even if he managed to save one, I would acknowledge his questioning of Jin Zhongming. Tai Lake's task is harder, but he didn't. I don't get what he's thinking, openly questioning Jin Zhongming's merit. Doesn't that discourage others too? Nangong Zioyan became slightly anxious. Jiang Fan had indeed offended some people with his words. Not only had he offended Jin Zhongming, but also many disciples who worked hard on their missions. Even Liu Qingxian frowned slightly. Originally, he had some appreciation for Jiang Fan's courage in taking on the Tai Lake mission. But hearing this, he felt Jiang Fan was too narrow-minded. He said indifferently, "What do you think should be done?" It was clear that Liu Qingxian was somewhat angry. Jiang Fan had even questioned the Vice Pavilion Master's suggestion. Why not let Jiang Fan decide? Jiang Fan did not look at the chattering disciples nor Jin Zhongming. Instead, he clasped his hands at Liu Qingxian and called out to Bai. "Everyone come down." Who else was on Bai's back? Wasn't the mission carried out by Jiang Fan alone? Clatter, when 5 figures jumped down one after another. Seeing their faces, the whole crowd gasped. Liu Qingxian and Wang Chengjian from the Green Cloud Sect, Wang Yan from the Thousand Refinement Sect, Qin Huai from the True Thunder Sect, and Wei Sanking from the Heavenly Sound Sect. They are the Tai Lake Patrol team, aren't they? They all came back, all rescued. The arena erupted in intense noise. Disciples from the Thousand Refinement Sect, True Thunder Sect, and Heavenly Sound Sect surged forward, cheering in delight. Nangong Zioyan's jaw dropped. What? You rescued everyone? This was an elder-level task. Didn't you encounter any danger? Jiang Fan nodded. Faced a bit. Then he respectfully clasped his hands towards Liu Qingxian, whose face softened. Vice Pavilion Master Yi, this junior accomplished the mission. All missing team members have been safely brought back. Please, Vice Pavilion Master, verify. Liu Qingxian also found it hard to believe. As the Vice Pavilion Master of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, he understood why this mission was urgently elevated to elder level. Because the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion had received secret information. The Demon Emperor dispatched a war general to Tai Lake, which was the reason for the disciples' disappearance. For Jiang Fan to retrieve everyone under the eye of a war general, it was nothing short of a miracle. He reevaluated Jiang Fan, a strong sense of joy appearing on his aged face. Good, good, good. Indeed, a young hero. To bring everyone back unharmed from such danger is beyond my expectations. Zioyan, what are you waiting for? Full merit, no dispute, full merit. At that moment, he suddenly realized why Jiang Fan had a problem with Jin Zhongming's mission rating. If Jin Zhongming received full merit for an incomplete mission, then what should be given to Jiang Fan, who perfectly completed his rescue mission? Full merit? That wouldn't be fair. Adding some merit on top, would that follow the rules? He then realized that while he seemed to be rewarding Jin Zhongming, he had actually disrupted fairness. He immediately retracted his decision. Jiang Fan, full merit, Jin Zhongming, 80% merit. No one objected, because it was the fairest. No wonder Jiang Fan questioned Jin Zhongming's rating. He really had the right. I was too hasty. Me too, in comparison, Jin Zhongming only deserves 80%. Same rescue, same number of people. Jiang Fan's task was harder. If they received the same merit, it wouldn't be fair. Jin Zhongming's gaze turned icy. The full merit he had secured was lost because of Jiang Fan. 80% merit not only meant he could only receive 80% of the merit points from the mission. More importantly, he had been challenging Xia Cao's heaven-level mission record. He finally completed it, but an 80% rating severely undermined the credibility of his challenge. It couldn't compare to Xia Cao's. Brat, you're good at executing missions, Jin Zhongming said coldly. Jiang Fan had no goodwill toward giant sect disciples, retorting bluntly, better than you. Thump, Jin Zhongming grabbed his comparable to heaven halberd planted in the ground, pointing it at Jiang Fan from a distance. Is that so? The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion merit list will be released tonight. Dare to compete with me? Oh, Jiang Fan's eyes showed a hint of joy. He had been waiting for the merit list for a month, anticipating the exchange of the legendary space storage device and Void Lotus. Fan appeared unruffled. Let's not compete. Just exchange your resources properly and don't look for trouble. Although Jin Zhongming had been performing first-level missions in Sunset City, Jiang Fan had not fallen behind either. He had successively completed a third-level mission, a first-level mission with 4 times the reward, a second-level mission, and another first-level mission. In terms of merit points, he was not any less than the elites of Sunset City. So we are to compete, Jin Zhongming said coldly. Whoever loses cuts off one hand. Hiss, everyone was awestruck. Jin Zhongming was really ruthless. He wanted Jiang Fan to lose a hand right off the bat. Liu Qingxian stepped forward and shouted, Jin Zhongming, what does bullying my junior brother prove? You've been in Sunset City for a long time, but he's only been here for a few days. How can you even think of competing with him? This wasn't a competition. It was clearly an attempt to seek revenge against Jiang Fan, intending to totally destroy him. A broken hand injury, even with a divine doctor present and spirit pills in hand, would take at least 10 days to half a month to recover. Such a long period of inactivity could cause someone to miss valuable mission opportunities, fall behind others, and make it hard to catch up again. Yi Kangyuan raised his hand, also feeling that Jin Zhongming had gone too far, but he ultimately didn't speak further and turned to enter his camp. As a guardian, it wasn't appropriate to interfere too much in conflicts between disciples. If there was a grudge, it was best they settled it themselves. As for Jiang Fan being at a disadvantage, there was no remedy. Jin Zhongming glanced at her disdainfully and said, he also knows he's only been here a few days. Then why isn't he being humble and low-key? The matter between him and me, you stay out of it. Otherwise, I'll look for another opportunity to spar with you. Hearing the last sentence, Liu Qingxian's expression changed slightly. She bit her silver teeth and felt deeply humiliated. Jiang Fan squinted his eyes. This Jin Zhongming had indeed bullied Liu Qingxian before. In that case, Jiang Fan smiled lightly. Compete, I accept. However, I am not interested in your hand. I'd rather roast a bear paw to eat. Jin Zhongming laughed softly. You're brave. Say, what do you want? Jiang Fan pointed to the comparable to heaven halberd in Jin Zhongming's hand. Jin Zhongming laughed loudly. He swung the comparable to heaven halberd vigorously, slicing a tangible black line through the air. That was a sign of space being cut open. You have good eyes to see this is a high-grade magical artifact. This is an unrivaled divine weapon personally forged by the 1,000 Refinement Sect Master upon my master's request, weighing 1,000 pounds. A slash on a demon beast, if it doesn't cut it down, it will crush it. Jiang Fan replied calmly. What, reluctant to part with it? Jin Zhongming laughed softly. Then what will you wager? Anything you like, whatever you fancy, take it. Jiang Fan pointed to the sword and loot on himself. Jin Zhongming shook his head. I'm not interested in your trashy items. How about this? If you win, the halberd is yours. If you lose both of your hands, both of your feet, and that annoying tongue of yours, I will use this halberd to cut them off piece by piece. Jiang Fan shrugged. No problem. Fan. Liu Qingxian became anxious. Jin Zhongming has completed 3 first-level missions. Are you crazy? She couldn't understand. How could Jiang Fan, who had been carrying out logistical tasks domestically, compare with Jin Zhongming in terms of merits? Isn't this clearly a disadvantage? Only 3 first-level missions. That's fewer than expected. Jin Zhongming, however, was eager. Good, it's a deal. Everyone in Sunset City bear witness. Whoever reneges, let the rest spit on him. To the numerous disciples who were always mentally tense, this match was undoubtedly a rare relaxation activity. They echoed in agreement, their eyes filled with anticipation. Returning to Liu Qingxian's place of residence, he looked at the dilapidated small courtyard, a lone outhouse, a wrecked woodshed and kitchen. Jiang Fan couldn't help but laugh. To think the sect master's daughter would come here to endure such hardships, it's really not easy. Liu Qingxian kept glaring at him. Don't change the subject. What were you thinking? Do you not want to stay in Sunset City anymore and not want to see me, so you found an excuse to leave? Tears brimmed in her eyes as she spoke. She couldn't be blamed for overthinking. She and Jiang Fan were barely acquainted, feeling very insecure. It was hard not to think the worst. Jiang Fan laughed in surprise and openly put his arm around her slender shoulders. What are you thinking? Since I dare to compete, I naturally have confidence. How could I not want to see you? If that were the case, I wouldn't have come all the way to rescue you. Liu Qingxian felt touched. Just now on the square, she learned that the task of rescuing her had been elevated to an elder-level mission. This indicated its danger. Yet Jiang Fan still went without hesitation. Sorry, I shouldn't have overthought. Liu Qingxian apologized, resting her head on his shoulder. Rest assured, I don't fight battles I'm not sure of. But you go eat those clam pieces now and quickly raise your strength. I don't want you to be bullied again, he said caringly. Meanwhile, Kong Yuanba listened with a dark expression as a subordinate reported. You say there was a young disciple wearing a mask using a purple sword. The subordinate looked excited. Yes. According to the description, it matches what Sun Keizong described exactly. Emitting a purple light with formidable spiritual pressure of a very high grade. This person demonstrated it near the Myriad Sword Sect, discovered by a disciple passing by. Bam! Kong Yuanba slammed his hand on the table. He was already exceedingly bitter about the death of the person using the nascent soul jade token. Because possessing the jade token didn't necessarily mean that Tai Bubai was the killer. It could be the murderer had transferred the token to someone else. But the one holding the purple sword was undoubtedly the true murderer. You say he is a disciple, an exceptionally skilled elite disciple? Yes, Sect Master. The disciple said this person's strength is absolutely top tier within the 9 Sect. Kong Yuanba's eyes gleamed with excitement. That's convenient. Now all the elite disciples are in Sunset City. And tonight, the merit ranking will be announced for the first time. He will definitely be present. If I examine their swords one by one, won't I find the true murderer? He clenched his fist. He growled viciously. I'm finally going to find you. I don't care who you are or what it costs. You must die. The great elder of the giant sect had been assassinated. This was an unprecedented provocation against the giant sect. Moreover, it was the greatest humiliation the giant sect had ever faced. Overtly and covertly, the giant sect had endured untold ridicule. Now they could finally unmask the murderer, to execute him and announce it to the world. The dilapidated courtyard. Jiang Fan was alone in the courtyard, practicing the second form of the 3 pure thunder shadow, the 5 thunder true heaven palm. But he had made no progress. Because the requirements for the second form were far more demanding than the first form, thunder dragon lightning leg. The needed power of thunder and lightning was 10 times that of the first form. Previously, relying on the thunder and lightning power of the silver-winged thunderbird, he managed to barely master the first form. Now, where was he going to find so much thunder and lightning? Should he catch 10 silver-winged thunderbirds? Putting aside whether it was easy or not. Did the demon race even have that many silver-winged thunderbirds? Squeak! Liu Qingxian came out, her face full of joy, and exclaimed excitedly, Fan, I broke through to the 2nd level of core formation. The clam meat you gave me is even more effective than the dragon saliva pill that enhances core formation realm cultivation. She couldn't believe it. A month after breaking through to the core formation realm, she had advanced another level. The speed was so fast, people wouldn't believe it. Because under normal circumstances, it would take at least half a year to have the chance to break through to the next level. Jiang Fan nodded, as expected. This clam meat was indeed a rare divine object that could nurture the sky-burning clam pearl. Such results were not surprising. Once your realm stabilizes, I'll give you another piece and strive to break through to the 3rd level of core formation in a month. He looked at the sky. Jiang Fan finished his practice and said, Let's go to the square. The merit ranking list is about to be announced. He looked forward to it eagerly. He wondered if his merits could be exchanged for a space storage device from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion's treasure trove. City Square, the sky had yet to darken, but the disciples had already arrived early, except for those still on missions and yet to return. All the disciples in the city were present. After all, this was the first time the merit list was being announced. It was of great significance. Liang Feiyan led Ling Gihai and several elite disciples of the Myriad Sword Sect, waiting in front of the command center. Senior Brother Liang, you have been carrying out missions for a month without resting. If you're not the first on the merit list, I won't accept it. Ling Gihai complimented. Liang Feiyan shook his head. It's not that easy to be first. Not to mention Xia Keoj, that task maniac who is even more relentless than I am, and Jin Zhongming hasn't rested this month either. Moreover, they both have records of completing heavenly-level missions. You should know, 1 heavenly-level mission equals 4 profound-level missions. The highest-level mission I've ever completed is only Earth-level. Liang Feiyan had a clear understanding of his own abilities. First and second will definitely be Xia Caoj and Jin Zhongming. I might rank third. At this moment, Liang Feiyan noticed Jiang Fan and Liu Qingxian arriving from afar. He couldn't help but be slightly surprised. Liu Qingxian, she's back. Jiang Fan successfully completed the rescue mission. The disciples behind him knew about this. Senior brother Liang, you might not know, Jiang Fan not only rescued Liu Qingxian but also the other 4 disciples, all of whom returned without a scratch. Vice Pavilion Master Yi praised him and gave him full credit. What? Liang Feiyan was so surprised his mouth fell open. He had thought it would be impressive if Jiang Fan came back alive. Luckily, the heavenly level mission he completed this time can only be counted for this month, and the results will be announced next time. Otherwise, my third place might not be secure. Ling Gihai was unconvinced. Senior brother Liang, are you overestimating him? As far as I know, this guy has always been doing logistics missions. Initially, he was only doing third-level missions, which indicates his limited strength. Ling Gihai naturally had a deep impression of Jiang Fan. Back in Green Cloud City, Jiang Fan had not embarrassed him. What? Liang Feiyan was even more amazed. What did you say? He used to do third-level missions. Could it be that he offended some big shot in the Green Cloud Sect? That's why they've been suppressing him. Recalling the scene of Jiang Fan easily defeating Bai, Liang Feiyan couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth. Fortunately, Jiang Fan had been suppressed, otherwise his third place would definitely not be secured. Calming himself, he greeted from a distance, "Junior brother Jiang?" Jiang Fan heard the call and walked over. Liu Qingxian was startled. "You know the chief of the Myriad Sword Sect?" She was a bit confused. Liang Feiyan was undeniably a super disciple whose strength ranked in the top 5 of the 9 sect land among the same generation. When did Jiang Fan get involved with such disciples? "Barely considered friends," Jiang Fan replied. Liu Qingxian was perplexed. Barely, but from Liang Feiyan's friendly smile, it seemed he greatly valued this friendship with Jiang Fan. As they approached, Liang Feiyan praised, "As expected of you to be able to complete such a mission. Senior brother, I didn't even dare to take it up." Jiang Fan cupped his hands. "Senior brother Liang, you flatter me, it was just luck." Luck. Liang Feiyan felt an urge to punch him, being too modest. That mission was something even Xia Caoj hesitated over and eventually gave up on. How could it be accomplished just by luck? Ling Gihai sneered, "At least you have self-awareness." Knowing it was luck, don't get cocky. Upon hearing this, Liang Feiyan's face suddenly turned stern and he turned to scold. "How dare you speak to junior brother Jiang this way?" Liang Feiyan himself felt inferior to Jiang Fan's strength. Was Ling Gihai fed up with life, offending people without reason? If he really angered Jiang Fan, he couldn't protect him. Ling Gihai was startled. It was rare to see Liang Feiyan lose his temper. He quickly apologized. "Sorry, junior brother Jiang, I'm sorry." Liang Feiyan snorted. "If you dare disrespect junior brother Jiang again, I'll be the first to deal with you." He then cupped his hands with an apologetic look towards Jiang Fan. "Junior brother Jiang, don't stoop to his level, please forgive him." Jiang Fan glanced at Ling Gihai. He didn't bother wasting words with such people and nodded slightly, then casually chatted with Liang Feiyan. Liu Qingxian watched in amazement. What's going on? Ling Gihai was the second top elite of the Myriad Sword Sect. Not only did Liang Feiyan not protect him, but he also scolded him, as if afraid of offending Jiang Fan. But Jiang Fan was only in the Foundation establishment realm. Was this necessary? Ling Gihai was also full of resentment. Did big senior brother eat something bad, to treat himself like this for a worthless person with no spirit root? "Hey, junior brother Jiang, you're here too." Hua Xianxia and Li Qingxian saw Jiang Fan from afar and hurried over. Especially Li Qingxian, who came over joyfully. "Congratulations, junior brother Jiang, for completing the 4th heavenly level mission ever." Jiang Fan looked at her in surprise. "You are still here." Wasn't she stripped of her mission qualifications? Li Qingxian said embarrassedly, "The sect master pleaded with Vice Pavilion Master Yi on my behalf. I repented sincerely, so Vice Pavilion Master Yi allowed me to continue observing. I'm allowed to do missions, but if I show any arrogance again, my qualifications will be permanently revoked." "Junior brother Jiang, you don't mind, right?" she asked anxiously. Jiang Fan smiled slightly. "That's for the best. Take good care of the weak from now on. Vice Pavilion Master Yi will surely forgive you." The other party had already kowtowed and apologized twice. Why would Jiang Fan hold a grudge? Li Qingxian's eyes lit up, nodding repeatedly. Yes, I'll listen to junior brother Jiang." Liu Qingxian, standing by, looked puzzled. What's going on? If she remembered correctly, Li Qingxian was quite difficult to get along with. When she first came to Sunset City, she had clashed with her. Only now did Li Qingxian notice Liu Qingxian and hurriedly apologized. "Junior sister Liu, I was very rude before. I hope you can forgive me." What? For a moment, Liu Qingxian even doubted if the person in front of her was the same arrogant and domineering Li Qingxian. To actually apologize, she said, bewildered, "Oh, it's fine, it's all in the past." At this moment, Xianxia also came over, nodded slightly to Jiang Fan, then clasped his hands and saluted Jiang Fan. "Junior brother Jiang, you are now the celebrity of Sunset City. Congratulations." Liu Qingxian was really confused. The big senior brother of the Supreme Sect was also being friendly towards Jiang Fan. No way. What made Jiang Fan worthy of such courtesy from everyone? But that wasn't the end. As Jiang Fan finished his words of greeting, Zai Liushu, dressed in splendid clothes and with a handsome appearance, also smiled politely. "Junior brother Jiang, I just arrived in Sunset City and I've been hearing your name everywhere. Senior brother is truly envious." What? Liu Qingxian was stunned. The chief disciple of the Desire Sect? "What are you all doing?" What left her even more dumbfounded was, amid the exclamations, Jin Zhangming, who rarely smiled, walked over with a composed, silent, stunningly beautiful female disciple. "Junior sister Xia, did you complete another first-level mission? You're not giving me any chance, are you?" He smiled wryly. He had hoped to compete with Xianxia Cultivation, but who knew Xianxia Cultivation had completed another first-level mission, widening the gap completely. Xianxia Cultivation lightly shook her head. "Until the end, the outcome is not yet certain." Suddenly, as she looked up, she noticed a crowd gathered at the central square. From experience, there should be a heavyweight disciple in the center, with the others unconsciously making them the focus. She really wasn't comfortable with such occasions. About to find a quiet corner, she unexpectedly discovered the center of the disciples' attention was Jiang Fan. Her clear eyes brightened instantly. Leaving the increasingly stiff-faced Jin Zhangming behind, she lifted her dress and ran over joyfully like a yellow oriole, calling, "Uncle, uncle, you've returned." Liu Qingxian could hardly believe her eyes. Xianxia Cultivation, the top prodigy of the Nine Sect land, she was so affectionate with Jiang Fan. Liu Qingxian felt a sense of surrealism. Jiang Fan's dramatic change plunged her into deep self-doubt. Have I really only been in the glacier for 10 days, and not a year? She felt as if a day had passed in the cave, while a millennium had gone by in the outside world. When had Jiang Fan become such a dazzling individual? Feeling equally surreal was Jin Zhangming. Looking at Jiang Fan, who was surrounded like the moon among stars by elite disciples such as Xianxia Cultivation, Liang Fan, Xianxia, Li Qingxian, Zai Liushu, and others. He found it exceptionally glaring. In any past occasion, at any time, this was the position he always stood in. When had an unknown junior from Green Cloud Sect also been able to take away his place? He dragged the comparable to Heaven Halberd and walked over with large strides. The piercing sound of friction interrupted the idle chatter among the crowd. Except for Xianxia Cultivation, who did not pay attention and continued to inquire about Jiang Fan's trip to Tai Lake with great interest. Liang Fan and the others felt uneasy upon seeing Jin Zhangming's hostile appearance. The disciples of the giant sect were inherently domineering. As the chief, Jin Zhangming was even more so. No one dared not to fear him. "Kid, you're in a pretty good mood, huh?" Jin Zhangming approached aggressively. Jiang Fan replied indifferently, "It would be better if you went further away." Buzz, the comparable to Heaven Halberd, emitted a tremor, caused by Jin Zhangming's exertion of strength. He narrowed his eyes, staring at Jiang Fan like a beast locking onto its prey, like a fierce tiger ready to pounce at any moment, making everyone's heart filled with anxiety and unease. Liang Fan braced himself and said, "Brother Jin, let's talk this out. If there is any misunderstanding between you and junior brother Jiang, I will host a gathering for everyone to talk it out. How does that sound?" As someone renowned for his good relationships in the group, Liang Fan still had some face. Jin Zhangming gave him a sideways glance. "What, you want to intervene? Then you substitute for him, break your limbs, and cut off your tongue?" Liang Fan found himself in an utterly embarrassing position. Usually polite to him, Jin Zhangming was unexpectedly so unyielding today. Did they have some unresolved grudge? "Junior brother Jiang, what's going on between you and him?" Liang Fan asked softly. Jiang Fan replied calmly, "Nothing much, he's just a sore loser." Buzz, Jin Zhangming's face turned cold, and he raised the comparable to Heaven Halberd, resting it against Jiang Fan's neck. "Who did you say is a sore loser?" It's just luck, not encountering danger and completing a rescue task by chance. Had you taken on my task, you'd be dead by now, and you call me a sore loser. Laughable. Looking at the incredibly sharp comparable to Heaven halberd, everyone's eyelids twitched. They all urged Jin Zhongming to calm down, not to harm Jiang Fan. Only Jiang Fan remained unperturbed, grasping the halberd between two fingers and examining it with interest. The touch is icy. It should be made of cold iron with some special materials added. It feels very heavy. It's a fine weapon. I'll take it. Then he flicked his finger. The 1,000 heavy comparable to Heaven halberd was easily flicked aside. Jin Zhongming, caught off guard, almost lost his weapon. He was both shocked and furious. Shocked that Jiang Fan, appearing frail, had such great strength. Furious that he nearly made a fool of himself in front of so many people. Just as he was about to vent his anger, several figures walked out of the command post. The first to step out was Yi Kangyuan. Following closely behind were two strong practitioners dressed in heavenly mechanism pavilion garments. A man and a woman, each standing half a step behind Yi Kangyuan. As soon as Yi Kangyuan appeared, the entire scene immediately quieted down. Like boiling water suddenly added with ice, it instantly became serene. Let me introduce to everyone. These two are here on behalf of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master to announce last month's merit list and handle the rewards exchange. Commissioner Luo Dengcheng and Commissioner Lin Yuheng. The disciples on the field watched Luo Dengcheng with curious eyes. He held a bright yellow scroll, enhanced with a seal in both hands, without a doubt. This was the eagerly anticipated merit list. Luo Dengcheng stepped forward and smiled. 451 disciples executed tasks last month. Due to time constraints, this commissioner will only announce the names of the top 10 disciples. Those whose names are not called can check the notice board for their ranking. Liang Feiyin took a deep breath. The moment of truth had finally arrived. The 9 sect always compared themselves with one another, but never had the top elite disciples from each sect gathered to execute tasks together like this. This list appeared to be a personal ranking of disciples. In reality, it was a contest among the sects. Whichever sect's disciples performed outstandingly on the list would undoubtedly bring great honor to their sect. Therefore, it was more a competition of sects than individual ranks. Giant Sect, Supreme Sect, and Myriad Sword Sect, long known as the upper 3 sects. If their disciples performed poorly, they would easily become the laughing stocks of the other 6 sects. However, he had confidence. Among the 9 sects, aside from Xianxia Cultivation and Jin Zhongming, it was difficult for anyone to surpass his ranking. 3rd place should be secured. Tier, as Luo Dengcheng tore open the seal. It signified that the list personally ranked by the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master, unseen by anyone beforehand, was unveiled to the world for the first time. Elites like Liang Feiyin and Zai Liushu naturally felt tense. Those who knew they had no chance to enter the top 10 were much more relaxed. They speculated animatedly with lowered heads. Come on, place your bets, let's guess the rankings. I bet the top 3 are from the upper 3 sects. If I lose, all the crystal stones are yours, but if I win, just give me a little heh-heh. Do you think I'm running a charity? Is there even a need to guess the top 3? Outside the upper 3 sects, who else could make it? Let's guess the 7 places behind. No one had any disputes about the top 3. The intrigue lay in the remaining positions. It depended on how many spots the other 6 sects could secure. Xianxia Cultivation remained serene and silent, occasionally glancing at the list and sometimes at Jiang Fan. She seemed indifferent to the rankings. Jin Zhongming stood with arms folded, exuding supreme confidence. The 2nd place was as solid as a rock for him. No one could match him. He also occasionally glanced at Jiang Fan, focusing on his limbs, seemingly contemplating where to strike first. The list unfurled. Luo Dengcheng's gaze locked onto the 10th name, announcing, 10th place Hua Xianxian, successful in 3 first-level mysterious tasks, failed in 1 first-level mysterious task, 300 merit points. Upon hearing the ranking, many disciples frowned. They found it hard to believe this ranking. That's not right. Hua Xianxian's ranking is too low. He's only 10th. Successfully completing 3 first-level tasks, he should at least be in the top 6. Hua Xianxian was greatly surprised as well. Which elites were in Sunset City and how many tasks were successfully completed were not secrets. His performance should have placed him in the top few. How did he almost fall out of the top 10? The huge disparity left him momentarily unable to accept it. Luo Dengcheng continued, Ninth place, Liu Qingxian, successful in 3 first-level mysterious tasks, failed in 1 first-level earth task, 300 merit points. This did not cause much of a stir. Everyone observed Liu Qingxian's efforts since arriving at Sunset City. She could be ranked ahead of Xianxia, because her failed task, patrolling Tai Lake, was an Earth-level task. Hence, with equal merit points, her ranking was higher than Xianxia's. Liu Qingxian's performance matches her efforts. Indeed, no complaints, a newcomer who just entered core formation surpassing the older generation of core formation like Xianxia, and as a female disciple it wasn't easy at all. Liu Qingxian's eyes turned red. A month of hard work finally paid off. She had secured a spot for Green Cloud Sect in advance. Unfortunately, the ranking wasn't very high. Jiang Fan smiled. "Congratulations, senior sister, Green Cloud Sect is proud of you." Liu Qingxian, with tears in her eyes, nodded happily. Jin Zhongming sneered, "Getting 9th place and she's this happy. What an achievement. My junior brother is ranked much higher." As soon as he finished speaking, Luo Dengcheng announced, 8th place Zhu Wancheng, successful in 3 first-level mysterious tasks, successful in 1 second-level task. Jin Zhongming's eyes widened in surprise, exclaiming, "8th? How is that possible?" Not to mention that this senior brother of his was taken aback. The disciples present couldn't help but break into an uproar as well. "No way, right? Why does the list keep getting more bizarre? That's Zhu Wancheng, one of the top 5 powerhouses in the 9th sect. He's only ranked 8th? There must be some mistake." Liang Feiyan and Zai Liushu also wore incredulous expressions. Zai Liushu, bewildered, said, "It's not a surprise that I didn't make the top 10. I arrived at Sunset City late, and I had also previously failed a primary task within the territory." "But Zhu Wancheng, that makes no sense." Liang Feiyan was equally puzzled. "What's going on here? Who on earth could be ahead of him, pushing so many powerful figures out of the top 10? Am I going to be pushed back too?" he said, half-jokingly. Zai Liushu laughed awkwardly. "Brother Liang, stop joking around. Who could possibly shake your 3rd position?" Xianxia also wore a gloomy expression. "Brother Liang, please don't make fun of me. I acknowledge that I was surpassed by several dark horses during my mission due to inadequacies. But the idea that they could surpass Brother Liang is just too exaggerated." After all, Liang Feiyan's battle achievements were incredibly distinguished. There had hardly been anyone known to surpass him. Liang Feiyan smiled. He had been merely joking earlier. If he was really pushed to the back, how could he face anyone? He might as well ram his head into a wall and die. Once again, Luo Dengcheng announced, 7th place, Liang Feiyan, 2 first-level mysterious tasks, 1 first-level earth task with a total of 400 merit points. What? This time the crowd completely erupted. The previous strange rankings were excusable, but Liang Feiyan not making the top 3 and even dropping to 7th place, who could accept that? There must be a mistake. How could this be possible? With 400 merit points, he should be second only to Xia Keoj and Jin Zhongming. Liang Feiyan's body swayed. A joke had turned into a prophecy. He had really been pushed back and to a surprisingly low position. He clenched his fists, utterly unable to accept this result. Even Yi Kangyuan's eyes flickered with astonishment. He was well aware of the strengths and task completions of the disciples under his charge. Even if Liang Feiyan couldn't make the top 3, entering the top 5 should not have been an issue, right? How did he fall to 7th? He turned his head to look at the ranking list up close. Liang Feiyan's heart welled with hope again. Could it have been a mistake in the announcement? However, after looking, Yi Kangyuan's expression turned serious. "The rankings are correct. Please remain calm and wait until all the rankings are read. We can discuss any questions after." Liang Feiyan's heart shattered. His vision darkened and he staggered. Fortunately, Jiang Fan noticed in time and caught him, or he would have fainted in public, really becoming a laughingstock. Liang Feiyan's face was pale, and he whispered in gratitude. Thank you, thank you." His voice was hoarse, as if choked by something. Jin Zhongming watched with disdain. "How pathetic. You can't even handle this kind of blow." Liang Feiyan gritted his teeth. "What are you gloating about? Be careful, or you might end up like me." Even now, someone was still taunting him. What kind of person is this? Jin Zhongming stood with his legs apart, holding the comparable to heaven halberd, exuding immense confidence as he coldly said, "Relax, I am not like you. In my eyes." Just as he was speaking, Luo Dengcheng announced another ranking. 6th place, Jin Zhongming, 5 first-level mysterious tasks, 500 merit points. What? If Liang Feiyan's ranking caused a stir, then Jin Zhongming's rank caused an earthquake. 6th, Jin Zhongming? Are you kidding? Him, sixth place, what a joke. Outsiders were already so shocked. Let alone the highly confident Jin Zhongming. With a thud, the comparable to heaven halberd he was holding fell to the ground with a crash. His tiger-like eyes shrunk to a needle's width as he gasped. Did you say who is sixth? Me. Is that possible? Can you believe it yourselves? Me, Jin Zhongming, sixth. What kind of sick joke is this? Yi Kangyuan's face changed upon hearing this, and he scolded. Silence! The list was personally arranged by the heavenly mechanism pavilion master himself. Questioning the list was tantamount to questioning the authority of the pavilion master. But internally, he was also thrown into turmoil. Jin Zhongming ranked sixth, truly an unthinkable matter. He turned his head to look again, shook his head, and said, "The ranking is correct. Again, please remain calm. Once all the rankings are read, you can raise any questions you have." But no one could remain calm. An indisputably powerful figure relegated to sixth place. Liang Fan wanted to mock Jin Zhongming, but he found himself unable to laugh. This outcome was simply too shocking. Who exactly is ahead of us? Could it be that some sect really is secretly raising some super disciples? Soon, Liu Qingxian announced a name that brought a deathly silence over the entire crowd. Fifth place Qin, 1 first-level heaven task, 6 secondary tasks totaling 520 merit points. The whole place fell silent. Everyone looked at each other, completely baffled. Who is Qin? Is there such a person among the elite disciples of the Ninth Sect, and moreover managed to successfully complete a heaven-level task? Who is this unprecedentedly formidable individual? Up until now, only Xianxia, Jin Zhongming, and perhaps the lucky Jiang Fan have completed heaven-level tasks. Who is she? At this moment, Liang Fan was stunned. He said uncertainly, "There is a junior sister named Qin in our myriad sword sect, but she is only at the 6th layer of foundation establishment. She doesn't seem to be related to this strong Qin. A 6th layer of foundation establishment. Then it couldn't be her." Yi Kangyuan's eyebrows twitched. With a careful recollection, no disciple named Qin had appeared in Sunset City. He couldn't help but look at the information on Qin behind the list. As a result, his expression grew even stranger, and he pondered. This disciple indeed belongs to the Myriad Sword Sect. Ah, Liang Fan's eyes widened. Really, truly my junior sister Qin from the Myriad Sword Sect? This must be a mistake. How could it be her? A common disciple like Qin could be found everywhere in Myriad Sword Sect. Usually Liang Fan wouldn't even look at her twice. Now they were telling him that this Qin had kicked the high and mighty chief of Myriad Sword Sect him down to 7th place. Zai Liushu's eyes widened. Brother Liang, are you sure your junior sister Qin is not a secretly cultivated super disciple? Completing a heaven-level task, could a 6th layer of foundation establishment accomplish that? Liang Fan didn't expect that his joke would circle back to him. He hurriedly said, "If the Myriad Sword Sect had secretly cultivated disciples, as the chief disciple, how could I be unaware? This junior sister Qin is truly just a very, very ordinary female disciple." Everyone was perplexed. They had thought that someone might be secretly fostering some unparalleled prodigy to push out so many elite disciples from the forefront. In the end, it turned out to be an obscure little disciple. Only Jiang Fan, feeling guilty, touched his nose, for he alone knew the truth behind Qin's heaven-level task. Liu Qingxian continued, 4th place, Chu Xingmeng, 1 heaven-level task, 6 secondary tasks, 2 tertiary tasks, with a total of 530 merit points. Everyone was stunned. Another name they hadn't heard before. Who's this disciple from now? Don't tell me she's another ordinary disciple. Fan, at that moment, Hua Xianxian was completely dumbfounded. He stammered weakly, "Unless the other sects also have someone named Chu Xingmeng. Then she must be a new disciple from our Supreme Sect. Her cultivation is even lower than Qin's. She's at the 5th level of foundation establishment." The crowd fell into utter silence. Everyone felt a bit numb. Today's ranking list was so bizarre that no one could find the words to comment. Liu Qingxian continued, 3rd place Yi Liangxing, completed 1 heaven-level mission and 7 earth-level missions, earning a total of 540 merit points. Quite a few people rubbed their foreheads. Finally, someone with at least some reputation. Yi Liangxing is a disciple of the Spirit Beast Sect. Although she isn't the chief disciple, she is still at the 8th layer of foundation establishment. But how is someone like her connected to 3rd place? Not even remotely. Liu Qingxian couldn't make sense of it either. She asked, "Fan, what's the story with these 3 women? Given their strength, how could each of them complete a heaven-level mission? Jiang Fan replied nervously. This, maybe someone helped them out. Jin Zhongming, Liang Feiyan, and a group of disciples were holding back their frustration. Come on, just read the rest. Let's see if there's another ordinary disciple in the rankings. Finish reading first, then we'll do the math properly. No one was convinced about these three women, nor did anyone believe they could complete heaven-level missions. Liang Feiyan's expression darkened. So far, only Xianxia seems secure in her spot. Her absolute strength puts these anomalies well out of her reach. Hua Xianxian forced a bitter smile. Last month, Xianxia completed one heaven-level mission, as well as several earth-level and profound-level ones. Who could possibly shake her position? However, as soon as he finished speaking, Liu Qingxian read out her name. Second place, Xianxia completed one heaven-level mission, one earth-level mission, and two first-level missions, earning a total of 800 merit points. The venue plunged once again into dead silence. The terrifying number of missions completed, and her second-place ranking stood in stark contrast. 800 merit points. She soared far ahead, leaving the third-place person behind by more than 500 points. But still, she was only ranked second. This instantly sparked an uproar. Xianxia, the supreme prodigy of the 9-sect land with 800 merit points, you're telling me she's just second place? Ha ha ha. Is this ranking list for real or just a joke? It's utterly ridiculous, completely lacking credibility. Disciples erupted in fury. Even though Xianxia and two representatives from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion were present, the outrage couldn't be contained anymore. They directly criticized the credibility of the rankings. Liu Qingxian's expression shifted. He hadn't expected the announcement of the rankings to trigger public outrage. Unable to decide, he turned to Xianxia for guidance. Vice Pavilion Master Yi, should I keep reading? Xianxia let out a light scoff. Read. The Pavilion Master himself did the rankings. How could there possibly be an issue? Any doubts will be resolved face to face. With his strong backing, Liu Qingxian hesitated no longer. First place. The crowd instantly fell silent. Each person clenched their jaw, eager to see who could surpass Xianxia and step over all the prodigies of the 9-sect land. Jiang Fan, as his name was read aloud. The enormous plaza erupted in waves of shocked exclamations. Who? Jiang Fan? Green Cloud Sect's Jiang Fan? That disciple with no spiritual root, Jiang Fan? He's the first place. Ha ha ha. What an absolute joke. He's worthy of first place? A torrent of furious and mocking gazes turned to Jiang Fan. It was undeniable. They naturally assumed Jiang Fan must have cheated. Liang Feiyan opened his mouth but said nothing. He wanted to believe in Jiang Fan, but such a prestigious ranking, he couldn't accept it either. Liu Qingxian froze for a moment. Fan, this Jiang Fan, is that you? Even someone so close couldn't believe the ranking. Jin Zhongming laughed angrily. Jiang Fan, first place. Does that mean I'm the biggest joke here? If today's situation isn't explained clearly, Jin Zhongming will permanently leave Sunset City. Forget the beast tide, forget the floodwaters. Let everything rot away. Many disciples displayed immense sorrow and rage. They risked life and limb, sacrificing sweat and blood. Yet ultimately, their efforts were overshadowed by a handful of connections and stolen victories. Who would want to keep fighting under such circumstances? Liu Qingxian's heart trembled. Mustering his courage, he said, 2 heaven-level missions, 1 second-level mission, and 1 third-level mission. Total merit, 825 points? What? 2 heaven-level missions. The crowd's anger surged higher. This is nonsense. Up until now, only 5 heaven-level missions have been completed. He's claiming Jiang Fan completed 2 of them. If this turns out to be true, I'll cut my head off and let him use it as a soccer ball. The indignation reached boiling point. Xianxia's inherently commanding voice echoed, What's all this clamor? I'll make sure Jiang Fan explains himself so you'll be convinced. Though his words were resolute, inwardly, he wasn't entirely certain. Jiang Fan completing 2 heaven-level missions last month. This claim sounded far-fetched. Could it really be that the Pavilion Master had bent the rules for this young man? If these matters aren't clarified today, a rebellion could truly break out, leading to catastrophic consequences. He fixed his stern gaze upon Jiang Fan. The crowd doubts your ranking heavily. Do you dare respond to them? Jiang Fan let out a sigh. What should have been a straightforward ranking ceremony had devolved completely. He wouldn't be able to avoid explaining it now. Without hesitation, he leaped onto a spirit beast standing over 3 meters tall. From his elevated position, he proclaimed, Since you're questioning it, I'll explain to you now. That guy who said he'd give me his head as a soccer ball, prepare your neck. His tone was icy. Killing intent subtly radiated from him. I completed 2 critical missions. The first involved escorting a 1,000-mile Eagle crucial to the war effort to the Desire Sect's western battlefield. What level of mission is that? Say it out loud. The furious crowd suddenly froze, their blazing fury extinguished by half in an instant. Escorting a 1,000-mile Eagle, well, that's definitely a heaven-level mission. I heard the person executing that mission encountered a 5th-level core formation silver-winged Thunderbird mid-journey, yet still successfully delivered the 1,000-mile Eagle. Being eyed by a silver-winged Thunderbird and still completing such a mission, a miracle truly. So, it turns out this person is Jiang Fan. Looks like we may have misunderstood him. With parts of the truth revealed, many who had been the loudest earlier fell silent. Jin Zhongming was taken aback. Could Jiang Fan really have completed a heaven-level mission? Yet, he still couldn't accept it. But that's just one mission. I don't believe you completed 2 heaven-level missions. Jiang Fan cast him a cold glance and replied icily. The second mission was to interrogate the golden claw iron wolf held in the giant sect's dungeon. Once again, tell me loud and clear. What level of mission was that? The crowd instantly burst into shocked exclamations. What? He completed the mission to interrogate the golden claw iron wolf. Many failed when trying to complete this mission. The heavenly mechanism pavilion became desperate and raised it from profound level to heaven level, but still, no one succeeded. In the end, they were prepared to abandon the mission and let the elders handle it. And yet, Jiang Fan completed it. This means Jiang Fan truly did complete 2 heaven-level missions. Then his first-place ranking is actually indisputable. Just a moment ago, the disciples who were loudly complaining about the unfairness and threatening to leave Sunset City collectively felt like they were doused with cold water, each one showing embarrassed expressions, looking at each other. Not a word was spoken. Jiang Fan gazed coldly at them. Where are the ones who said they wanted to use my head as a ball? Come out and fulfill your promises. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, a disciple from the True Thunder sect who was trying to sneak away squatted and said sheepishly, Jiang, junior brother Jiang, just now we were just joking with you. HMPH. Jiang Fan leaped over swiftly. He lifted his leg and kicked the disciple to the ground, shouting, A joke! The way you looked just now, you couldn't wait to send me to the depths of despair. And now you say it was a joke. After saying this, he stomped on the disciple's chest. Crackling sounds. Directly crushing his ribs, the powerful force caused severe internal injury. The disciple spat out a large mouthful of blood with a cry. Then, Jiang Fan coldly glanced at the rest, saying, Who else wants to question me? Step forward. The place was completely silent. The undisputed first place was just now being hysterically denounced without any evidence. If it weren't for Jiang Fan's solid achievements, his whole life's reputation would have been ruined, seeing no one making a sound. Jiang Fan clasped his hands behind his back and walked up to Jin Zhongming, coldly saying, You were the most dissatisfied just now. Now, satisfied? Jin Zhongming's veins bulged all over his body, his face filled with anger. To be questioned so aggressively in front of the 9 sect elites, asking if he was satisfied. This was a provocation to him, Jin Zhongming. Don't get arrogant. Jin Zhongming glanced at Yi Kangyuan and 2 special commissioners from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Forcing himself to not make a move, Jiang Fan sternly said, You're the one who is arrogant, who allowed you to hold my comparable to Heaven Halberd. Hand it over. Jin Zhongming was stunned. He then suddenly realized that he had forced Jiang Fan into a ranking competition. If Jiang Fan lost, he would have to break his limbs and cut his tongue. If he lost, he would give up the comparable to Heaven Halberd. But Jin Zhongming never thought he would lose, because he believed he couldn't lose, however. Reality turned out to be absurd. Not only did he lose, but he lost completely with no room for quarrel. First place and 6th place. 800 merits and 500 merits. All his arguments were useless. Jiang Fan, don't go too far, leave yourself some room for maneuver. How could Jin Zhongming bear to give up the comparable to Heaven Halberd? This was a magic artifact custom-made for him, increasing his combat power by 30%. Once he lost it, his ability to complete subsequent tasks would surely decrease significantly. Jiang Fan stepped forward with an imposing aura. When you wanted me to break my limbs and cut my tongue, did you think of leaving a way out? If you can't afford to lose, then don't shamelessly compete with others. Disgraceful. Jin Zhongming was furious. Jiang Fan, insulting him in front of so many people. But his attitude of not being able to bear the loss did earn quite a few disdainful looks. especially from the disciples present at the time. The giant sect's usual conduct. If they think they can handle you, they will bully you to death. When they find they can't handle you, they either change their face or cheat. Even the chief is like this, really opening people's eyes. If you can't afford to lose, why were you so aggressive before, talking about cutting off hands and tongues? How could Jin Zhongming endure such humiliation? If he didn't fulfill his promise, his reputation would be ruined. He glared at Jiang Fan in extreme anger, snorting, "Who said I won't give it? If you can take it, then take it." Bang, he grabbed the comparable to heaven halberd and plunged it fiercely into the ground. The halberd, which was a zhang long, only had a section of the handle sticking out. Many disciples rolled their eyes. Still can't afford to lose? If you're giving it, just give it straightforwardly. Why intentionally make it difficult and embarrass others? The halberd weighs 1,000 jin. Without someone who has undergone body refinement, it's impossible to lift it, let alone when it's buried in the ground. Jiang Fan will either not take it or make a fool of himself taking it. Jiang Fan chuckled. With one hand behind his back, the other reached out and lightly gripped the handle. Then he casually pulled it out. Shla, the comparable to heaven halberd, gleaming fiercely, was pulled out in an instant. Immediately, Jiang Fan held the halberd with one hand, as if holding a wooden stick, playing with it vigorously, with extreme ease and flexibility, not showing the slightest bit of heaviness, to the extent that people doubted whether the halberd really weighed 1,000 jin. Little did they know, Jiang Fan, used to wielding the purple sword, found the comparable to heaven halberd only slightly heavier than an ordinary sword. After a few moves, Jiang Fan hoisted the halberd over his shoulder, saying, "From now on, this comparable to heaven halberd is mine." Jin Zhongming's pupils contracted sharply. Even he couldn't wield the comparable to heaven halberd as easily as Jiang Fan. Moreover, the halberd was buried in the ground, even he needed effort to pull it out. But Jiang Fan, he finally realized, Jiang Fan was a body-refining ace, a deeply hidden body-refining ace. He had truly suffered a great defeat. Jiang Fan, this isn't over between us? Jin Zhongming's face was filled with shame. A dignified chief having his divine weapon won by someone. This was the biggest joke within the 9 sect this year. Jiang Fan turned his head to look at him, saying, "If you have more good things in the future, you can bring them to compete with me." "I won't reject anyone," grind. Jin Zhongming was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Suddenly, he saw Liu Qingxian full of joy, welcoming Jiang Fan's triumphant return. He sneered, saying, "Fairy Liu, I am in a bad mood right now. I want to spar with you." What's sparring? It was just wanting to take revenge on someone close to Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan's eyes narrowed, saying, "Sparring? Why not try it with me instead?" The giant sect had bullied Liu Qingxian like this in the past. Seeing something valuable on her, they would use the pretext of sparring to injure her and rob her. Liu Qingxian said, "Junior brother, I'll handle this myself. Some grievances are best settled personally." Jin Zhongming chuckled. "Oh, have you gained some advantage daring to challenge me? All right, I'll see how much you've improved." As he spoke, he forcefully directed his power and attacked Liu Qingxian. Liu Qingxian drew her sword, clenched her jaw, and took the initiative to meet the attack. On the first exchange, Jin Zhongming was shocked. "You've broken through to the second level of core formation. How is that possible so quickly?" Liu Qingxian's breakthrough to the core formation realm wasn't long ago. Breaking through to the next level would take at least half a year. "Of course, Jiang Fan helped me." Liu Qingxian, filled with confidence, attacked fiercely. Previously, she was at the first layer of core formation and couldn't resist Jin Zhongming, who was at the third level of core formation. Now it was different. Every move she made could threaten Jin Zhongming. Moreover, Jin Zhongming had lost the powerful comparable to heaven halberd, so his combat power was not as strong as before. In his shock and anger, Jin Zhongming couldn't easily injure Liu Qingxian even after 20 rounds. "All right, that's enough. Don't disrupt the other disciples' merit point exchanges for resources." Yi Kangyun stopped the sparring. Liu Qingxian gracefully retreated. A bright smile appeared on her face. She couldn't believe she could spar with Jin Zhongming for so long. She turned her head and smiled. "Thank you," Jiang Fan replied. "No need for thanks between us. Go exchange your resources quickly." His eyes were full of anticipation. Finally reaching this point, wondering if he could exchange for a space storage device, and the Void Lotus. Yu Heng cleared her throat, her expressionless gaze sweeping across the people present. When her gaze fell on Jiang Fan, she paused and smiled slightly. She then continued to scan the crowd expressionlessly. Once the place was quiet, she said, "I have brought the resources for the disciples to select." Let me remind you of 3 points in advance. First, some resources are unique. If the people in front exchange them, those behind will naturally have no chance. Second, every resource has a corresponding amount of merit points. Aside from merit points, I will not accept anything else, so don't do unnecessary things. Third, the selection must be done according to the ranking order, no competing allowed. Hearing this, the disciples who ranked lower naturally felt anxious. The further their rank, the fewer top-level resources there would be to choose from. Jin Zhongming frowned deeply and said, Yi Liangxing, Chu Xingmeng, and Qin Ke are not here. Do we all have to wait until they arrive to make our selections? Lin Yuheng had anticipated this. After all, it was unlikely that everyone would be present when the list was announced. However, it was rare for 3 of the top 10 to be absent today. She replied, that's not necessary. Those ranked after them may continue to choose their desired resources, but to prevent these 3 from missing out on their favored rare resources. You can select unique resources now, but they will only be yours after we ask for their opinions. If they don't want them, you can take them. Though it might be a bit troublesome, it is a privilege that those in the front of the ranking should enjoy. After all, who can guarantee that everyone will be present when the list is announced next time? You wouldn't want to get first place and come back to find that the good resources have all been taken, would you? Who would put in any effort then? What? Even if they liked something, they would have to wait for those 3 female disciples to decide first. Not to mention being suppressed by 3 ordinary female disciples, which was infuriating. But just waiting for their decisions could take several days, seeing something they wanted but not being able to take it on the spot. Who could endure that? This is outrageous. Jin Zhongming snorted heavily. Lin Yuheng gazed at him coldly. Do you have an issue with this? Jin Zhongming, seething, said. I fully support Commissioner Lin's view. The interests of those ranked higher should indeed be protected. My issue is that the merit points of those 3 women should be reevaluated. With his words, many discontented disciples also started to agree. Exactly, I can accept that Jiang Fan completed a heaven-level task. But what about them? Unless they are some secret elite disciples trained by the sect, there is no way they could have succeeded. This point. Even Liu Qingxian had her doubts. She didn't know how hard a heaven-level task was, but she had almost lost her life on an earth-level task. Those 3 were only at the 5th or 6th layer of the Foundation establishment realm, at most the 8th layer. How could they complete a heaven-level task? Originally, people were reluctant to pay attention to those 3 women. At most, they just stole some people's spotlight. But now that they were causing trouble for everyone in claiming resources, it naturally caused widespread dissatisfaction. Jiang Fan shook his head slightly. This was really endless. He had to bow to Lin Yuheng and said, Senior Lin, I know how those 3 women got their merit points. In fact, Lin Yuheng also had some doubts about their merits. How did those 3 get a heaven-level task? Jiang Fan confessed. Actually, the task I completed of escorting the 1,000-mile eagle was a team task that required the cooperation of 4 people. I chose those 3 as partners, and with the successful completion of the task, they naturally received some credit. The place fell silent immediately. Many elite martial artists who risked their lives on the front lines felt like vomiting blood. Damn it! I worked so hard, but I'm no better off than 3 women who cling to Jiang Fan's leg. Junior brother Jiang, do you need more female companions? I'll join and take on some heaven-level tasks. You're really cunning, but if Jiang Fan doesn't mind, I'll act shamelessly too. Who wouldn't be envious? Just by being associated with him, they scored top 3, 4, and 5 places on the list and got 400 merit points. The crowd bubbled with excitement again, but the questioning voices faded like the tide going out. Lin Yuheng looked Jiang Fan up and down and said, You are really generous, that was a heaven-level task. Just casually took some people through it. Didn't you get any benefits? She smiled meaningfully. Liu Qingxian pinched Jiang Fan's arm immediately. You must have had a great time, right? With 1 senior sister and 2 junior sisters, didn't they serve you comfortably? She didn't know about Chu Xingmeng and Qin Ke, but she had seen Yi Liangxing, who was quite pretty. Jiang Fan sucked in a breath. He knew explaining further would only get him into more trouble, so he hurriedly said, Commissioner Lin, can I select the resources now? Lin Yuheng covered her mouth with a slight laugh and got up to enter the command post. Come on, she called to the disciples behind her. Also, come in to select materials 1 by 1. No one had any objections to that. No one wanted others to know what good items they had chosen. Inside the command post, Lin Yuheng took out an array that isolated from prying eyes, leaving only herself and Jiang Fan inside. She then raised her wrist with a jade bracelet. With a gentle wave, an invisible spatial wave surged from the bracelet. Next, as if by magic, a large pile of items appeared in disarray at her feet. These are unique resources. There are also many pills, talismans, magic artifacts, and more, all in the bracelet. Since there are so many, I can't dump them all out here. So, you can refer to this list, and if you need any non-rare resources, I will take the required amount out for you. She handed Jiang Fan a list. At the top of the list was the third-grade spirit pill, Yuan Energy Pill. It was marked, requiring 300 merit points to exchange. The reason for its high cost was, the Yuan Energy Pill was one of the few known spirit pills in the 9-sect land that could help someone break through to the core formation realm. Made by the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master. Each year the 9-sect masters received no more than 2 of them. This showed its rarity. Lin Yuheng's eyes sparkled and she said, "It is best to prioritize exchanging for the Yuan Energy Pill, preferably 2. The Yuan Energy Pill only has a 30% chance of helping someone break through to the core formation realm. 1 pill is not a sure bet. With 2 pills, the chance exceeds 50%. Jiang Fan's attention was not on the list or the Yuan Energy Pill. Instead, he was scanning the pile of unique resources. Lin Yuheng advised earnestly, "Jiang Fan, listen to me. Don't be distracted by these rare resources. A martial artist's realm is the foundation of everything. Especially since you're stuck between 9th layer perfection of foundation establishment and core formation. The 2 realms may seem only 1 level apart, but they are worlds apart. The opportunity for core formation is more important than any resource for you." With her usually cold nature, she wouldn't bother to guide anyone like this. But with Jiang Fan, she had the thought of taking him as a disciple, so she earnestly advised him. Jiang Fan bowed and said, "Senior Lin, I appreciate your kindness. But I already have a way to break through to core formation. Everything is ready, only the last step remains." Suddenly, his eyes gleamed with excitement as he grabbed a fiery red jade box and asked, "Senior, what is the value of this item in merit points?" It contained nothing else. It was unexpectedly a palm-sized, transparent petal. Lin Yuheng was surprised. "What do you want the void lotus for?" "This item is mostly used for alchemy," Jiang Fan, excited, said. "I want this." Fortunately, he had held on and didn't ask for any Yuan Energy Pills. With over 800 merit points, he could only buy 2 Yuan Energy Pills. What was the probability of breaking through to core formation? 60%. But the Qingxian pill refined from the void lotus and 7-colored mysterious ice had a 100% chance of breaking through the core formation. And there was a chance of breaking through to the 2nd level of core formation. Which one to choose was obvious, wasn't it? Lin Yuheng frowned deeply and said, "The void lotus is hard to find in this world. Even the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion only has this 1 petal. It requires at least 600 merit points. If you exchange for this, you'll have no chance to exchange for Yuan Energy Pills." She was genuinely worried for Jiang Fan. As for what method Jiang Fan mentioned, if he really had a method, why would he be stuck at the 9th layer of foundation establishment? 600. That was really not cheap. However, this was the only void lotus petal Jiang Fan could get at the moment. The large lotus in Kong Yuanba's hands, he didn't even need to think about it. Even with 2 vice pavilion masters of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion present, Kong Yuanba did not give in. It was evident that no one could use it. "I'll exchange for this," Jiang Fan said decisively. Lin Yuheng sighed heavily. "Why won't you listen to advice?" Helpless, she could only take Jiang Fan's list and deduct 600 points from it. "You only have 225 merit points left." Jiang Fan had obtained the most urgently needed item and was quite satisfied. Looking around at the remaining resources, he asked, "Senior Lin, I heard that there is a space storage device among the reward resources of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion this time. Is that true?" Jiang Fan's refusal to listen to advice made her displeased, and she snorted lightly. "There is, but with the way you're recklessly spending your merit points, you still want to exchange for that thing. Exchanging for it requires 10,000 merit points." "How much?" 10,000? Jiang Fan felt a bit dizzy. He had worked hard for a month and got first on the list, yet he only had a bit over 800 merit points. At this rate, even if he struggled for a year, he might not have a chance to gather enough merit points. "Why are you so surprised?" Lin Yuheng rebuked. "There are only 3 space storage devices in the entire 9-sect land. One is this jade bracelet in my hand, a public space storage device that can only be requested when the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion is performing important tasks. One is the Pavilion Master's space storage ring. The other one is the space storage necklace in the treasure vault of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. That space storage necklace cannot be exchanged even by the people in the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Offering it as a reward so that the disciples of the 9 sects can obtain it through merit points has made countless people in the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion envious. They all wish they could come out and earn merit points themselves. Only 10,000 merit points. It's really a bargain for you all. Jiang Fan touched his nose. The preciousness of space storage devices, although anticipated, it now seemed he had still underestimated it. Aside from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master, no one possessed one. The seemingly exaggerated 10,000 merit points were actually a super benefit given by the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion to motivate disciples to fight the beast tide. 10,000 merit points were far from matching the value of a space storage device. All right, I was just asking, Jiang Fan said awkwardly. He wasn't too disappointed. He had already considered that space storage devices wouldn't be easy to get. Now, he would simply stop thinking about it. That thing was definitely not something he should be longing for right now. With over 200 merit points left, what should he exchange for? Suddenly, an object caught Jiang Fan's eye that seemed somewhat familiar. It was a cat's-eye-sized eyeball pitted and scorched on the surface. Sporadic arcs of lightning occasionally erupted from it. Isn't this the Heavenly Thunder Stone extracted from Jin Yunli's abdomen? According to the Black Mirror evil spirit, certain rare treasures that incited the fear of heaven would be struck by myriad thunderbolts, eventually condensing into Heavenly Thunder Stones. The Heavenly Thunder Stone before him, aside from its weak thunder power and pitted, unsightly surface, was very similar to a Heavenly Thunder Stone. Is this a Heavenly Thunder Stone? Jiang Fan asked, astonished. Lin Yuheng glanced at Jiang Fan with amazement and said, "You're quite something. You even recognize this. However, it's not a Heavenly Thunder Stone. This is something our Pavilion Master spent decades creating, the closest thing to a Heavenly Thunder Stone. Unfortunately, true Heavenly Thunder Stones are not so easily birthed. Without being a rare treasure, it can't withstand myriad thunderbolts. All these years, the Pavilion Master has ruined countless good things." At the last sentence, her voice lowered, and she looked somewhat resentful. Jiang Fan's heart beat wildly. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master had spent decades trying to create a Heavenly Thunder Stone. He immediately felt the Heavenly Thunder Stone in his arms become incredibly hot. He had actually obtained a treasure that even the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master wanted. Straining to remain calm, he asked doubtfully, "But isn't the Heavenly Thunder Stone simply a stone containing a trace of thunder power after being struck by myriad thunderbolts? Other than being useful to the martial artists of the True Thunder Sect, it seems to have no major use, right?" Lin Yuheng, unaware that Jiang Fan was probing her, instead took an interest in teaching him, smiling. "You only know one side of the Heavenly Thunder Stone? Utilizing its thunder power to cultivate the thunder path is just a superficial use. Its real use is to resist heavenly tribulations. Breaking through to nascent soul from the 9th layer of core formation triggers a heavenly tribulation. That power truly is world-shattering. Throughout history, those who survived heavenly tribulations are less than 1 in 100. As if she had seen it herself before, a trace of fear spread across Lin Yuheng's face. Jiang Fan was shaken to the core. Including the Supreme Elders, the 9 sects combined probably didn't have 100 core formation 9th layer martial artists. Didn't that mean that within them, it was difficult to produce even one nascent soul? This was even considering the chance to break through to nascent soul. In reality, opportunities to break through to nascent soul were as hard to find as a needle in a haystack. Obtaining one was already 1 in 10,000. Undergoing the cleansing of a heavenly tribulation, that was 1 in 1,000,000. No wonder 9 sect land had only one Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master for so many years. Even he must have been extremely lucky to break through. Lin Yuheng added, "If our human clan could produce another nascent soul, we wouldn't fear the northern demon race. The Pavilion Master, over the years, has only been trying to give our human clan a better chance of producing a nascent soul." Jiang Fan nodded deeply. He thought of the Black Mirror evil spirit. Since this creature was in the late stage of nascent soul realm, it should naturally know the true use of the Heavenly Thunder Stone. Yet it had always concealed it. Clearly, this creature's words couldn't be fully trusted. With this knowledge, Jiang Fan's interest in the Heavenly Thunder Stone diminished significantly. Surviving the tribulation was still too far off for him. Finding a way to utilize the thunder power within it was more practical. Furthermore, Lin Yuheng added, aside from that, the Heavenly Thunder Stone is also one of the rare natural space storage devices. What? Jiang Fan's pupils contracted sharply. It seemed he noticed his abnormal emotions. Lin Yuheng was dumbfounded for a moment, then said with a wry smile, "What are you so surprised about?" She picked up the pitted failure of the Heavenly Thunder Stone and said, "This is just a failure. Were you expecting it to be a space storage device?" Jiang Fan quickly concealed his surprise and said, "I'm just amazed that a space storage device could be made this way." Lin Yuheng replied, "Space storage devices generally fall into two categories. One is created by the artifact refining masters of our human clan, who extract the power of space and use their artifact refining techniques to wrap this wisp of space, forming the space storage devices you know. The advantage is that the space is very stable. Unless the storage device suffers destructive damage or the material of the storage device itself decays over time, the internal space will always exist. The disadvantage is that the internal space is often not large. A space the size of this command post is considered a top-grade space storage device. My bracelet space storage device is the largest of the 3 storage devices in the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, measuring 4 zhang in length, width, and height, only the size of a small thatched cottage. It's already considered a very rare mid-grade storage device." Jiang Fan felt parched. "So the other type is this natural space storage device like the Heavenly Thunder Stone?" Lin Yuheng nodded. "When the thunder tribulation strikes extraordinary objects, it shatters the inside together as well. Because the power is too overbearing, it often distorts the internal space, thereby forming an internal space. Thus, it counts as a natural space storage device. The advantage is that the space is often very large. After all, a single strike of lightning spans hundreds of zhang, and the crisscrossing space formed is naturally enormous. According to historical records, even the smallest Heavenly Thunder Stone has an internal space as big as a palace, 10 times larger than the space of my bracelet. The obvious disadvantage is its instability because the power of thunder and lightning carving out the space is entirely unstructured. It's very possible that some part of the space is only covered by a thin layer of the Heavenly Thunder Stone shell, which can be easily pierced. If that happens, it causes a space collapse, destroying everything stored inside along with potential harm to anyone nearby." Hearing this, Jiang Fan was already trembling with excitement. He was eager to study the Heavenly Thunder Stone, but after thinking for a moment, he asked, "Then how do you open a space storage device?" Lin Yuheng glanced at the time, feeling that too much time had been wasted. The disciples lined up behind were probably already dissatisfied, but seeing Jiang Fan's eagerness to learn, she patiently and briefly explained, "If it's a man-made space storage device, it will have the mantra of the artifact refining master. Without this mantra, no one can open it. If it's a natural space storage device, it's even more troublesome, requiring a considerably powerful soul force to open it." To prevent Jiang Fan from asking more questions, she quickly said, "All right, if you have any more questions, come find me later. I'll teach you individually. For now, you should use your merit points to exchange for resources." Jiang Fan shook his head calmly. "I don't have anything I want for now. I'll save them up for next time." Lin Yuheng nodded. "That works too." Her eyes shifted, and she suddenly lowered her voice, whispering, "Work hard to earn merit points this month. In the next resource distribution, there will be 3 nascent soul one-strike jade tokens. Each one only costs 1,000 merit points." She was envious. Those jade tokens were not available even to the Vice Pavilion Masters, nor would they be granted upon request. Yet the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master used them as rewards for the 9 Sect disciples, and was giving out 3 at once. Clearly, the incident where the Demon Emperor's concubine delivered the Demon Emperor's blood to the frontline had angered the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master. Hence, the jade tokens were introduced into the battlefield. Your demon race has the Demon Emperor's essence blood. The human clan has the nascent soul one-strike jade token. Let's see who is afraid of whom. Jiang Fan's pupils contracted. He had personally witnessed the power of the nascent soul jade token. The force that could annihilate everything still left him deeply shocked. To think the next reward would include such tokens. And 3 of them no less, he had to get one, at least one. "Thank you for looking after me, Senior Lin." Jiang Fan expressed his gratitude with a bow. Lin Yuheng rolled her eyes at him. "If you truly understood my good intentions, you wouldn't have insisted on choosing those useless void lotus petals." Speaking, she fetched something from her sleeve. A small jade box with several layers of seals appeared, which she threw to Jiang Fan. Take this Yuan energy pill. Originally, if you had exchanged for 2 and added this one, you would have had a 90% chance of breaking through to core formation. But you didn't listen. With just this one, you only have a 30% chance. Whether you succeed or not depends on your luck. Jiang Fan was moved. Lin Yuheng genuinely had no ulterior motives toward him. This Yuan energy pill was almost useless to her. Yet the care behind giving it to him was more valuable than anything. He bowed formally, took the pill with great respect, and said thoughtfully, "Before you leave Sunset City, please visit me at Pomegranate Street, Wudong Courtyard. I have some things that I wish to give to Senior Lin." Lin Yuheng smiled. "All right. I'll come by when I have time." This trip was worth it. She successfully deepened her connection with Jiang Fan. As for him giving her something, she, a dignified special commissioner of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, cared little for gifts from a disciple. Jiang Fan left the command post. Everyone was anxiously waiting in line, eager to exchange their merit points for resources. No one paid any attention to him, which was even better. Jiang Fan hurried back to Liu Qingxian's small courtyard. He immediately took out the Heavenly Thunderstone, with an excited heart. He activated his soul power, directing it onto the Heavenly Thunderstone. As soon as he touched it, Jiang Fan suddenly felt a powerful force absorbing him. His consciousness was unwittingly drawn into a broken, desolate space. All around was pitch black, not a single thing visible. He had a thought. The next moment, several luminous pearls that should have been in his pocket appeared out of thin air in this space. This was clearly the effect of the space storage device. Jiang Fan was overjoyed. This truly was a space storage device. Under the illumination of the luminous pearls, a space resembling the interior of some kind of spirit fruit came into view. All around were pitch-black walls. From the traces, it seemed to have once been the flesh of the fruit. But under the destructive power of lightning, it had become charred and hard walls of space. Looking around, this space was as large as the Sect Master Hall of the Green Cloud Sect. 200 zhang in length, width, and height, considerably huge. Besides this, for some reason, the space walls occasionally flickered with strands of thunderbolt power. Jiang Fan wondered, could these thunderbolt powers be trapped inside and unable to get out? Perfect. He was practicing the second form of the 3 pure thunder shadow and was troubled by lacking a large amount of thunder power. Wasn't this like a pillow being handed to him when he was sleepy? Checking the space, confirming it was safe. He then thought, and his spiritual artifact purple sword, clam meat, revitalizing pill, replenishing spirit pill, 3-step drunk, ancient zither, and other items were all placed inside. When his consciousness returned to his body, a long-missed sense of ease washed over him. So comfortable! Freed from big and small burdens, various magic artifacts and materials, he felt greatly liberated. Indeed, the space storage device was immensely practical. On his person, he only kept the Sorrow Frost sword, also the 7-colored mysterious ice, void lotus petals, and several auxiliary materials. Finally, I can start refining the Qingshu pill. He adjusted his state immediately, just when he was about to begin the alchemy process. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside the courtyard. "What are you doing? Why are you barging into my courtyard?" It was Liu Qingxian's voice, filled with anger and fear. Jin Zhangming's heavy threat followed in response. "We have checked everyone's swords, except Jiang Fan's. We will know if he did it as soon as we see his sword." Next, the cold snort of giant sect master Kong Yuanba came over. "This concerns the truth about the killing of our great elder. Everyone must be examined." Liu Qingxian was anxious. She often stayed with Jiang Fan and naturally knew that Jiang Fan had a very mysterious sword. It was always wrapped in cloth strips. Once she had unintentionally looked through a gap in the cloth. The color, it was purple, regardless of whether Jiang Fan was the real culprit. Just due to the sword's color, he would find himself in huge trouble. But how could she stop the aggressive giant sect? Just when she was about to grit her teeth and draw her sword to fight them. Inside the courtyard, Jiang Fan's voice sounded. "Senior sister, let them into check." "Sect, how can that be?" Liu Qingxian was anxious. "The giant sect wouldn't reason with us. Once they found the purple sword, they would absolutely take down Jiang Fan." The gate behind them creaked open. Jiang Fan, calm and composed with his hands behind his back, said, "Senior sister, it's fine. I have a clear conscience, so why fear any inspection? Your concealing only makes me seem more suspicious." Liu Qingxian was taken aback. Was everything really all right? Or had Jiang Fan already hidden the sword? She uncertainly said, "Junior brother, you don't need to fear them." Jiang Fan waved his hand, interrupting her. Turning to look at Kong Yuanba, he said, "Regarding the death of your great elder, I am willing to cooperate with the investigation. But, conducting such a thorough search of the Green Cloud Sect disciples' courtyard, where is the face of the Green Cloud Sect?" Jin Zhongming, seething with rage, said, "Who are you to talk? Go. Search anyone who dares to resist, kill them." Disciples behind him immediately responded and rushed forward. Jiang Fan stood expressionless at the center of the door, neither releasing spiritual power nor making any resistance, allowing Jin Zhongming's bull-like body to charge straight at him. Kong Yuanba immediately called out, "Stop!" He only wanted to search, not to harm Jiang Fan. If it was confirmed that Jiang Fan was indeed the murderer of Tai Bubai, then Jiang Fan deserved to die, and the two vice pavilion masters would have nothing to say. But if there was no evidence and Jiang Fan ended up dead, his own head would be on the line. "What do you intend?" Kong Yuanba snorted. After his return from Tai Lake, he carefully pondered Jiang Fan's words that the person holding the jade talisman had died under a mysterious beast. Something felt off, but he couldn't pinpoint the flaw. It was known that a very powerful masked young man had once used a purple sword. It was hard not to connect Jiang Fan, who was also a very powerful young man, with the masked man. More coincidentally, when the jade talisman was activated, Jiang Fan was nearby. This was why he mobilized such a large force upon learning that Jiang Fan was not in the square, because he had already suspected Jiang Fan. If it turned out to be Jiang Fan's doing, that would be perfect. Firstly, revenge. Secondly, the two vice pavilion masters would have nothing to say. And thirdly, he could completely resolve future worries. It was like killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Very simple. If you want to search our place, you need to provide a reason that we find acceptable, Jiang Fan said indifferently. Jin Zhongming, looking at the comparable to heaven halberd planted in the courtyard, felt his anger rise and said coldly, "What right do you have to negotiate with us? Master, don't listen to him, he must be the murderer." After observing Jiang Fan intently for several moments, Kong Yuanba slowly nodded. "All right. As an apology to the Green Cloud Sect, I will compensate you with some crystal stones." Jiang Fan nonchalantly took out a crystal token worth 100,000 and waved it in front of them. "I don't lack crystal stones, don't bother offering your giant sex pills, and I also don't need your cultivation techniques." Kong Yuanba ground his back teeth slightly. This wasn't wanted, and that wasn't wanted either. Did he want his void lotus instead? That was impossible. Suddenly his eyes lit up. "Since you lack none of those, how about a chance to excavate a residence cave?" "Excavate a residence cave?" Jiang Fan looked puzzled. Jin Zhongming's face changed. "Master, how can that be? That's our giant sect's sacred ground. The supreme secret manual of the sect, the Iron Blood True Scripture, was discovered there." "What?" Jiang Fan's heart pounded wildly. The Iron Blood True Scripture had significantly contributed to his achievements, to say the least. The manual accounted for at least 30% of his success. Now he understood that the Iron Blood True Scripture was not a heritage of the giant sect. It had been excavated from a certain cave residence. Kong Yuanba glanced at Jin Zhongming. "Since when did you have the right to interrupt my decisions?" Immediately looking at Jiang Fan, he said, "Just as you heard. This residence cave is considered an origin place for our giant sect. Hundreds of years ago, our sect's ancestor discovered this place and learned various body techniques from it, establishing the giant sect. This secret realm has never allowed outsiders. You and Liu Qingxian would be the first. Isn't this gesture enough to make up to the Green Cloud Sect?" Jiang Fan was very tempted. This was the origin of a sect's opportunities. Just imagine the treasures that must have emerged there. However, he remained calm. "The secret realm has been developed by you for hundreds of years. Even buried fragments 10 feet underground must have been found by now. What new opportunities could possibly remain?" Kong Yuanba said. "That's hard to say. Even our sect's Iron Blood True Scripture was only discovered a few decades ago. If you're lucky enough to find something substantial, maybe I'd be willing to trade the Void Lotus." Jiang Fan showed a thoughtful expression. In truth, he indeed wanted to take a look. Anyone who left behind the Iron Blood True Scripture might have left behind even more astonishing things. Since it was a free opportunity, why not give it a try? "Where is this place? Will it delay our mission?" Jiang Fan asked. Kong Yuanba said, "It's in the northern territory, not far from the front line. As long as you accept the frontline mission, you can visit along the way." Jiang Fan hesitated no longer. "Good. I agree. You can search now. He had the little Qilin with him. With little Qilin's ability to sense heaven and earth spiritual objects, what the giant sect couldn't find might not escape little Qilin's detection. If something was indeed found, the giant sect would regret it. Kong Yuanba's eyes gleamed. Search! Jin Zhongming immediately led his men to raid the courtyard, searching everywhere. Inside and out, every place that could hide a sword was thoroughly searched. Impossible. He was convinced the mysterious masked youth was Jiang Fan. How could they not find it? Dig 3 feet deep for me? Burrowing sounds, they really dug up the ground and searched deeply. As expected, they found nothing. They spent half a day on it. The courtyard was turned inside out, and no hidden sword was found. Jin Zhongming glared at Jiang Fan, dissatisfied. Where did you hide the sword? Jiang Fan drew out Sorrow Frost from his back. I only have this sword. If you insist on convicting me, take it and paint it purple. Or you can strip search me. Maybe the purple sword can fold up and be tucked in my clothes. Jin Zhongming snorted. You think I won't search you? As he moved closer. Enough, Kong Yuanba frowned. This was an impromptu raid. Jiang Fan had no chance to hide the purple sword in advance. Besides, they had already dug 3 feet deep. If this sword really existed, it would have been found. It seemed they had truly gotten the wrong person. Let's go, Kong Yuanba turned to leave. Jiang Fan stopped him. Sect Master Kong, haven't you forgotten something? Kong Yuanba's face darkened. Reluctantly, he took out a bronze token. Take it. With this token, you can enter the residence cave anytime, but you can only stay for 1 day. Jiang Fan took it, smiling. Sect Master Kong, safe travels. Watching them leave in a grand procession. Jiang Fan let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, he had put everything in the heavenly thunder stone space in time. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Fan, you scared me to death just now? Liu Qingxian patted her curvy chest. She exhaled long and deep. I thought you were done for. Jiang Fan quickly made a gesture of silence. Don't bring this up again. Please protect me. I need to break through to core formation. Liu Qingxian instinctively nodded. Okay, wait. Did you say break through to core formation? Palm, here is the translation you requested. Jiang Fan asked, is it strange? I've reached 9th layer perfection in the Foundation Establishment realm. What's wrong with breaking through to the core formation realm? Liu Qingxian froze for a moment. It's not wrong, it's just that, She was momentarily speechless. Reaching 9th layer perfection in the Foundation Establishment realm and breaking through to the core formation realm was indeed the most normal progression. But she couldn't shake the odd feeling. It wasn't until Jiang Fan closed his room door. She suddenly realized the problem, but it's only been a few months. And he's already at the core formation realm, she vividly remembered. The first time she met Jiang Fan was at the Spirit Pond in the City Lord Mansion of Lonely Boat City. Back then, what was Jiang Fan's cultivation level? Only 7th layer foundation establishment. Since then, in total, only half a year had passed. And now he was about to enter the core formation realm. Liu Qingxian had cultivated for countless years, and only managed to reach core formation with the aid of Jiang Fan's pathway powder. Otherwise, she would still be stuck at 9th layer of the Foundation Establishment realm. Jiang Fan, though, had merely taken 6 months to traverse the road she spent years walking. Even with a 9-grade spiritual route, wasn't this cultivation speed incredibly excessive? Back inside the room, Jiang Fan, bothered not with tidying the chaotic mess around him. He simply sat cross-legged in the spacious pit and began refining the Qingshu pill. After 2 hours, with sweat pouring from his forehead, a transparent spirit pill radiating streams of light and an air of deep mystery rested in his palm. This was a 4th-grade spirit pill, the Qingshu pill. After consuming it, one could absolutely break through to the core formation realm with a chance to advance to the 2nd level of core formation. Filled with anticipation, he swallowed it immediately. As the pill's effects began to take hold, the spirit pond within his dantian began contracting rapidly. The spirit pond, initially the size of an acre, shrank to half an acre in the blink of an eye. And it continued compressing. Moments later, it shrank to a basin's size. Another moment passed, it was now the size of a fist. The spiritual power within the pond, constantly compressed, became incredibly dense. When the spirit pond condensed to the size of an egg, it could no longer compress further. The spiritual power within it, jam-packed by compression, resisted further concentration. Many people who consumed Yuan energy pills failed at this exact step. Yet the Qingshu pill possessed overbearing medicinal power. In the moment compression slowed under the pill's influence, the spirit pond suddenly contracted. Pop! Completely compressed, the spirit pond transformed into a golden orb the size of a human eye, radiating faint golden arcs of light. This was the fabled power source possessed only by core formation realm martial artists. A golden core. At this moment, he had broken through to the core formation realm, from being an orphan sheltering in the Su family to becoming a core formation realm powerhouse in the Nine Sect land capable of standing tall alone. He had finally reached this point. If my father knew, he would surely be proud of me too, wouldn't he? Suppressing a flood of emotions, Jiang Fan activated his mental method, absorbing the spiritual energy around him. Because the breakthrough wasn't yet complete. Perhaps because Jiang Fan had been at 9th layer of the foundation establishment realm for so long, his solid foundation played a part. The pill's medicinal energy was only halfway consumed, allowing an effortless breakthrough. Thus, the remaining medicinal energy transformed into powerful spiritual power, continuing to nurture the golden core. As time ticked by, when the last trace of medicinal energy was exhausted, the golden core trembled lightly, emitting a hum. It suddenly expanded by another layer. He had already stepped into the 2nd level of core formation. For most people to advance from 1st level to 2nd level of core formation, it would take at least 6 months. But the Qingshu pill enabled not only his core formation breakthrough, but also shaved off 6 months of cultivation. It was well worth the great efforts he went to in acquiring the 7-colored mysterious ice and void lotus. It was regrettable, though. Jiang Fan glanced at the surplus 7-colored mysterious ice and the utterly depleted void lotus. Limited by only having 1 void lotus petal, he had only refined a single Qingshu pill. Had he possessed a full flower, he could have refined at least 10 pills. Giving them to Su Yoren or Chen Silin would have been beneficial, or selling them would have brought immense advantages. Stashing away the 7-colored mysterious ice, Jiang Fan then took out the heavenly thunder stone and stared at the strands of thunder power flickering across its surface. His gaze sharpened, and he immediately absorbed this trace of thunder power into his body. In just a moment, all the thunder power entered his body, tempering his physique. Yet this was far from sufficient. He focused his intent, channeling a strand of potent tribulation thunder lingering in the nearby space into himself. Tribulation thunder was incomparable to the surface-level thunder arcs. As soon as it entered, his internal organs were crushed with piercing pain from the strike. A mouthful of blood sprayed from his lips. No need to ponder. It was clear this tribulation thunder was overwhelmingly dominant, wreaking havoc on his internal organs. He swiftly swallowed a revitalizing pill, directing the excess tribulation thunder into the meridians in his arms, much like channeling thunder power into the veins of his legs while cultivating thunder dragon lightning leg. Once his internal injuries healed, Jiang Fan guided another strand of tribulation thunder within. Again, his internal organs suffered utterly destructive damage. The pain made him grit his teeth tightly. Can this palm technique really be mastered by anyone? Jiang Fan muttered, pale-faced. Ordinary people, when attempting to absorb their first strand of tribulation thunder, would suffer severe internal injuries, barely clinging to life. Only Jiang Fan, with his revitalizing pills, could repeatedly save his life just in time. Moreover, this arduous process needed to be repeated at least 9 times. Who else besides Jiang Fan had so many revitalizing pills to spare? Even if they did, who would be willing to waste them just to cultivate a technique? When the 9th strand of tribulation thunder had been successfully refined, the pores along his arms began radiating strands of thunder power sporadically. Immediately, he began cultivating using the thunder path technique 3 pure thunder shadow. Not long after, as he struck out with 1 palm, a handprint composed of densely intertwined thunder power shot out forcefully. Boom! The wall of the grass shack was blasted through, leaving a scorched hand-shaped hole. And even as the residual handprint continued forward, it struck the courtyard wall. Boom! The remnants of the handprint still managed to collapse the courtyard wall entirely. A shroud of dust filled the air. Startled, Liu Qingxian quickly rushed in and asked with concern, "Fan, are you all right?" Jiang Fan withdrew his energy, stood up and said, "I was cultivating a technique. Apologies for disturbing you, senior sister." Cultivating a technique. When Liu Qingxian noticed the scorched handprint on the wall, she couldn't help but draw a sharp breath. It was undeniably the mark of a thunder strike. But wasn't Thunder Path technique unique to the true Thunder Sect? Just as she was about to inquire further, a voice called out from outside the courtyard. It was Lin Yuheng's surprised tone. Jiang Fan, what are you doing to cause such a commotion? Lin Yuheng and Luo Dingcheng stopped at the courtyard gate. They stared at the destroyed wall, exchanging glances. Luo Dingcheng frowned and said, Commissioner Lin, our schedule is tight. You went out of your way to visit Jiang Fan? The task in Sunset City was completed. Next, they needed to hurry to the 9 Sect land to announce the rankings and distribute the disciples' rewards. Time was very limited, extremely tight. But Lin Yuheng insisted on making a stop, claiming Jiang Fan needed to meet him. It'll only take a moment, Lin Yuheng replied. Soon, Jiang Fan came out after hearing the commotion, carrying a bundle in his hand. Noticing Luo Dingcheng had also come, he hesitated for a moment and said, I wasn't aware that Commissioner Luo would be here as well. Please wait a moment, I've prepared a gift for you too. Luo Dingcheng waved his hand dismissively. No need, no need. Say whatever you need to say to Commissioner Lin quickly. My time is very limited. He clearly didn't, like Lin Yuheng, intend to get close to Jiang Fan. In his eyes, Jiang Fan was merely a disciple who performed admirably. Let alone a gift, a mere disciple couldn't possibly present anything valuable. Even receiving something would feel like an inconvenience. Nodding slightly, Jiang Fan exchanged pleasantries with Lin Yuheng. Lin Yuheng sighed again. When I find the chance, I'll secure a Yuan energy pill for you. I'll do my best to help you break through to the core formation realm. Jiang Fan chuckled and cupped his hands respectfully. Thank you for your generosity, Senior Lin. But I've already broken through to the core formation realm. Lin Yuheng froze for a moment. Then, astonished, he said, You broke through with just 1 Yuan energy pill? Is your luck that good? I can hardly believe it. Theoretically, a single Yuan energy pill indeed had a 30% chance of a breakthrough. But for most people, success was exceptionally rare. Did Jiang Fan really possess such incredible luck? She raised her palm and with a playful motion struck toward Jiang Fan, saying, Show me what you've got. She wanted to test whether Jiang Fan had truly reached the core formation realm. Jiang Fan smiled wryly and had no choice but to meet her strike. Slap! Commissioner Lin's palm was rebuffed. Her face revealed a look of utter astonishment, as though she had seen a ghost. It wasn't merely because Jiang Fan had reached the core formation realm. It was because he had surpassed that, stepping directly into the 2nd level of core formation. I go back to ask for a gift. Weren't you at the 9th layer of foundation establishment perfection? Lin Yuheng felt a sense of time distortion, just like Liu Qingxian before. Had she really been apart from Jiang Fan for only half a day? Jiang Fan said, Half a day ago, I was indeed at the 9th layer of foundation establishment perfection, but now, haven't I broken through? What kind of talk was that? People in the 9th layer of foundation establishment perfection could rely on a Yuan energy pill to break through to core formation. That already required great fortune. But who would break through directly to the 2nd level of core formation? Not to mention seeing it, such bizarre things had never even been heard of. She dismounted. Grasping Jiang Fan's wrist, she carefully sensed it in disbelief. But that strong and powerful spiritual power, what else could it be but the 2nd level of core formation? You've really broken through to the 2nd level of core formation, Lin Yuheng exclaimed in shock. If she hadn't seen Jiang Fan's capabilities before, and hadn't been sure that he was indeed at the 9th layer of foundation establishment half a day ago, she would never believe that someone could jump from the 9th layer of foundation establishment to the 2nd level of core formation in one go. Jiang Fan smiled and said, Just luck. No more talk, don't want to delay Senior Lin's duties. He stuffed a package into Lin Yuheng's hand, saying, Just a small token, please accept it, Senior Lin. Lin Yuheng wanted to grab Jiang Fan and question him thoroughly. But Luo Dingcheng next to her, impatient with the delay, urged them onward, and she could only mount her horse, speaking deeply. You truly surprise me every time I see you. I wonder to what extent you'll surprise me next time we meet, she rode on. When leaving Sunset City, she felt heavy-hearted and sighed repeatedly. Jiang Fan was so remarkable that his fame would only grow. By then, many in the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion would be watching him when the disciples were recruited. It would not be easy to take Jiang Fan as her disciple. Commissioner Lin, you're really generous with this Jiang Fan. Luo Dingcheng chuckled. You gave him that Yuan energy pill, and now you're still looking for another one for him. You put in so much just to receive a few thanks and a small gift in return. His words carried a hint of feeling that it wasn't worth it. Lin Yuheng couldn't say outright that she intended to take Jiang Fan as her disciple. She could only speak in Jiang Fan's favor. The boy is very polite. No matter what he gives, it's still his token of appreciation. Whether it's valuable or not doesn't matter anymore. Just now, he wanted to give you a gift as well, but you outright refused, somewhat hurting his pride. HMPH. Luo Dengcheng snorted, showing his disdain. I've traveled countless miles, even the things on me feel burdensome. Why would I want anything from a small disciple that has no value? Lin Yuhang felt a bit angry. After all, Jiang Fan had good intentions. Belittling him like this was really unbecoming. All right, Commissioner Luo, you're so wealthy, is that enough for you? You don't value it, but I do. She no longer held back. Picking up the package Jiang Fan had given, it felt heavy, quite substantial. She wondered what was inside. Curious, she untied the package to see what Jiang Fan had carefully prepared for her. Luo Dengcheng pouted, too lazy to see what it was, for he could easily guess it would be something small disciples considered precious. But to experts like them, it was just worthless junk. Huh, what is this? Lin Yuhang let out a surprised sound. Staring at a package full of crystal-clear spiritual meat, she looked perplexed. She took a small piece. Upon confirming it was demon beast spiritual meat, not some random junk, she carefully put it in her mouth to taste it. Suddenly, a surge of pure spiritual power flowed into her golden core. The 7th level of core formation, stagnant for years despite consuming many heavenly materials and earthly treasures, showed signs of loosening. Ah, what kind of spiritual meat is this? To be effective even for a late-period martial artist like me? At her level, ordinary heavenly materials and earthly treasures had long lost their effect. Breaking through required a grand opportunity. However, this unknown spiritual meat had great effect with just a taste. This shocked her, making her exclaim repeatedly. Luo Dengcheng chuckled, "Is such exaggeration necessary? If you want to praise him, just do it, no need to go this far." He thought Lin Yuhang was forcibly trying to elevate Jiang Fan's gift value. But such exaggerated actions seemed childish to him. Not getting a response from Lin Yuhang after a while, he turned and saw Lin Yuhang hurriedly closing the package, afraid he might see it. Luo Dengcheng got angry and laughed. Would I covet a small disciple's junk? Was she underestimating him, Luo Dengcheng? However, when he glimpsed a corner of the spiritual meat in the package, his face changed drastically, exclaiming, "Millennium spiritual meat! It's millennium spiritual meat! How is that possible?" Lin Yuhang quickly closed the package and securely tied it to herself, expressionless, saying, "You saw it wrong. It's just some worthless small gifts." After a brief moment of doubt, Lin Yuhang also realized that this bunch of spiritual meat was extraordinary. So she hurriedly packed it up to prevent Luo Dengcheng from seeing it. Unexpectedly, he still discovered it and even identified it. "I didn't see it wrong." Luo Dengcheng looked shocked. "When I was young, I once obtained 200 years of spiritual meat. It was the meat of a rare spiritual turtle, which allowed me to break from the 3rd level of core formation to the 4th level. I can't mistake what's in your package. That is at least millennium-level spiritual meat." He held his head in disbelief. "That kid actually gave you a whole package of millennium spiritual meat. So much that it will be enough for you to break through to the 8th level of core formation." Only then did he realize. Jiang Fan's gift was not burdensome, nor was it trash. It was a grand opportunity, a dream opportunity for late-stage core formation martial artists. His expression turned grim. Jiang Fan had wanted to give him a gift as well. He refused. Thinking of this, he turned green. Clenching his jaw, blushing, he said, "Commissioner Lin, can you accompany me back?" Jiang Fan wanted to give him a gift out of respect for Lin Yuhang. Approaching Jiang Fan alone, he wouldn't be entertained. "No way!" Lin Yuhang refused without a second thought. Jiang Fan had offered a gift out of goodwill, but he scorned it. Now realizing its value, he wanted to go back and ask for it. And he wanted her to go along. Lin Yuhang couldn't bear such shame of asking a junior for a gift. Luo Dengcheng was regretful, slapping his thigh. "I was indeed arrogant just now." "Commissioner Lin, please accompany me back once more." Lin Yuhang rolled her eyes at him, replied bluntly, "If you want to go, go yourself. Don't take me to disgrace." Knowing it was impossible to get another share, Luo Dengcheng eyed the package on Lin Yuhang. "Then, can you share a bit with me? We've worked together for years, don't we have at least that much affection?" Seeing him shamelessly begging for spiritual meat, Lin Yuhang found it both infuriating and amusing. Wasn't he the one disdainful of gifts just now? Wasn't he the one complaining about burdens? Why was he begging now? Her heart felt relieved, let him underestimate Jiang Fan, served him right. However, she did tear off a finger-sized piece, saying, "Just this much, take it or leave it." Luo Dengcheng held it in both hands, uncertain whether to cry or laugh. The breakthrough opportunity gone just like that. He now only wanted to complete his task quickly, then repair his relationship with Jiang Fan, to gain his favor and maybe get a share of the spiritual meat. Jiang Fan's tale continued, with Lin Yuheng gone. He didn't idle around, returning to his thatched hut. He closed his eyes in meditation. He had something extremely important to do. "Finally, I've reached core formation. It's time to visit the void ancient tree," Jiang Fan muttered. His tone brimmed with excitement, because upon reaching the core formation realm, he could again obtain a cultivation technique. A technique that had never existed in the Nine-Sect land, a method of soul attack. As his vision gradually sank into darkness, he once again entered the long-lost world. The void ancient tree was still as grand as ever. Standing under it, he couldn't see the top that soared into the clouds. His eyes fell on a fruit. Sealed within it was the cultivation technique he had been longing for, Soul's secret technique. Soul cutting 3 forms, he immediately leaped up. This time, without any resistance, he easily grabbed the fruit. With a strong tug, the fruit came off and fell into Jiang Fan's palm. Soul attack secret technique, soul cutting 3 forms, level, earth level high, Jiang Fan gasped. It was actually an earth-level high cultivation technique. A technique of such level had never existed in the Nine-Sect land. Moreover, it was the most mysterious soul secret technique. If he could learn the soul attack method within, it would be an extremely powerful ace up his sleeve. Rustle, rustle. At this moment, it seemed that Jiang Fan's action of picking the fruit triggered a chain reaction. He only heard a series of noises as branches were hit. Jiang Fan quickly dodged. Bang! A stone plate smashed where Jiang Fan had stood. The ground was pitted with a hole as deep as an ankle. Amidst the white smoke, an ancient white jade plate came into view. On the white jade plate were incredibly complex patterns, extremely mysterious. They seemed like some kind of array or a sacrificial method. The jade plate was divided into 3 areas. The patterns of each area ultimately led to a thumb-sized hole. The 3 holes surrounded a central eyeball-sized hole like stars around the moon. "What is this?" Jiang Fan was surprised. Besides fruit, the void ancient tree even dropped physical objects. He picked it up. The moment he touched it, a spark of electricity flashed through his mind, bringing a lot of information. Life-changing jade disc, top-grade spiritual artifact. It can produce sky-reaching marrow to break through the nascent soul realm? What? Jiang Fan's pupils trembled violently. This jade plate was actually a top-grade spiritual artifact. Moreover, it could produce the spiritual liquid needed to break through the nascent soul realm. Does this mean? He had a glimmer of hope to reach the nascent soul realm, unlike the core formation realm experts of the Nine-Sect land who had no hope at all. This made him incredibly happy. The more he understood, the more he realized how difficult it was to break through to the nascent soul realm. The renowned sword King Liu Qingxian roamed the world, yet never found an opportunity to break through to the nascent soul. The powerful heavenly mechanism Pavilion Master managed to ascend to the nascent soul realm solely by a stroke of great fortune. Theoretically, the 9th-layer core formation experts of the Nine-Sect land were far from enough to produce a nascent soul. Having one heavenly mechanism Pavilion Master was already an immense blessing to the Nine-Sect land. There could almost never be a second nascent soul martial artist. But Jiang Fan, just after breaking through core formation, he immediately had hope for the nascent soul realm. However, Jiang Fan didn't celebrate for too long, because a new piece of information left him dumbfounded. Conditions for production. Gather 3 nascent soul realm souls and a drop of divinity transformation realm essence blood. Jiang Fan opened his mouth. He didn't know what to say anymore. 3 nascent soul souls. If he had the ability to kill nascent soul realm experts and seize their souls, he wouldn't need to break through to the nascent soul. Even so, it still needed a drop of divinity transformation realm essence blood. What kind of existence was the divinity transformation realm? It was doubtful whether they even existed in this world. Holding the life-changing jade disc, Jiang Fan felt conflicted. He neither wanted to throw it away nor could he bear to keep it. After a while, he smiled bitterly. Breaking through to the nascent soul realm truly has no shortcuts. Every path is fraught with danger. After standing still for a while, he sighed. Finally, he looked up at the void ancient tree. Vaguely, he saw a fruit with a bamboo slip sealed inside. Heaven-level sword technique Dayan sword array. Once the sword array forms, it can kill divinity transformation. What? Jiang Fan gasped. Excitedly, he leaped up to grasp the fruit, but he was suppressed and pushed back like before. A message appeared in his mind. Only nascent soul realm can pick. Jiang Fan was itching with anticipation, mastering a sword technique that could slay divinity transformation realm experts. How terrifying was that? Yet he had to break through to nascent soul first to obtain it. You dead tree, are you deliberately teasing me? Jiang Fan angrily kicked the void ancient tree. Snap, but the next moment the void ancient tree trembled all over. A branch whipped towards him with lightning speed. Jiang Fan, with quick reflexes, decisively exited the conscious space before the branch could hit him. He avoided the whipping. Unknown to him, a faint voice of laughter and cursing came from the top of the void ancient tree. Jiang Fan's consciousness returned to his body. His hands each held something. One was soul-cutting 3 forms, and the other was the life-changing jade disc. Jiang Fan directly threw the latter into the heavenly thunderstone space. He solely focused on soul-cutting 3 forms. Earth-level high technique, the first move, soul-shocking stab. The stronger the soul of the user, the greater the power. It can sting the soul of an opponent of the same realm, causing minor damage. For souls 3 realms lower than oneself, it can inflict serious injury. For souls 6 realms lower, it can kill outright. Jiang Fan frowned. This explanation is too vague. To understand the power of soul-shocking stab, I must first confirm the strength of my soul power. But besides the soul tower at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, there's nowhere and no good method to test my soul power. The testing of soul power was very specialized. Ordinary magical treasures or forces couldn't accurately measure a person's soul strength. No matter, let's practice first. With my approximate 4th grade Soul Master soul strength, soul-shocking stab should be quite powerful. He immediately began to cultivate. It was his first time practicing an Earth-level high technique. Even with his talent, he felt a bit strained. And this was under the premise that he had cultivated Taiyin soul technique and had a basic command over soul power. If it were given to someone completely unfamiliar with soul power, they might find it as incomprehensible as reading a book of heaven. Just as he was about to continue practicing, a knock came from the door. Liu Qingxian's voice with a hint of jealousy, "Your pretty junior niece is here to see you." Jiang Fan's mouth twitched. He could only put away the cultivation technique and step outside. He saw Xianxia Cultivation standing gracefully in the courtyard, dressed in a fresh yellow long dress embroidered with cloud and water daffodils. Compared to her usual cold and otherworldly demeanor, today's attire added an extra touch of liveliness and charm. "Uncle Master." Seeing Jiang Fan, Xianxia Cultivation's usually indifferent face immediately showed a hint of joy. Jiang Fan nodded. "Cultivation, what brings you to me?" Xianxia Cultivation nodded and said, "Due to most of the disciples returning to Sunset City yesterday to exchange rewards, the Beast Tide took the opportunity to increase their attack on the defense line. Some powerful demon beasts broke through, and as a result, Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion issued an emergency mission. Going to the front lines to kill 5 Beast Kings would count as one profound-level mission. The more you kill, the more rewards you get. Jin Zhangming, Liang Feiyan, and Hua Xianxian have already set off early." After a pause, Xianxia Cultivation gently tucked her hair behind her ear and softly said, "Uncle Master, when will you set off? Cultivation will go with you." Jiang Fan was astonished. Had the front line already become this critical, they actually released unlimited tasks. Previously, each task was considered complete upon completion. No matter how outstandingly it was completed, it would only count as one task. Now it was different. As long as your strength was sufficient, the more Beast Kings you slew, the more first-level tasks would be accumulated. Whoever went to the front line first would naturally gain more achievements. Jiang Fan instantly gained immense confidence in those 3 nascent soul strike jade talismans. He was about to nod immediately, but then he shook his head slightly and said, "Shishu still has other matters to attend to. You go ahead. When I get to the front line, I will find you." Xianxia Cultivation's dreamy and beautiful face showed a trace of disappointment. Last time she excitedly invited Jiang Fan to go with her, he had a female companion. This time was the same. She glanced at the side at Liu Qingxian, reputed to be the most beautiful female disciple of the 9 Sect. She didn't say anything more, cupped her hands, and then turned to leave the courtyard. She climbed onto her spiritual horse and galloped away. Liu Qingxian pouted. Retracting her gaze, she looked at Jiang Fan's contemplative face and said petulantly, "What, feeling sorry for her? Why don't you go after her? Be careful, she might cry alone." Jiang Fan laughed and cried, "When did I say I was thinking about her? I was thinking about whether to take you with me to the origin place of the giant sect. If there are good opportunities, we can share them. But given the giant sect's tyranny, It's hard to guarantee that we won't have conflicts with them. Knowing that Jiang Fan was thinking about her, she was secretly delighted, and her face immediately brightened up with a radiant smile. Happily clinging to Jiang Fan's arm, half of her body leaned on him, she said gently, "Thank you for thinking of me. However, I'm not planning to go to the front line for now. Yesterday, I exchanged for a cultivation technique that suits me very well. I want to practice it first to improve my strength before going to the front line. Seeing you become so powerful while I stay where I am. If I don't work hard, I won't be worthy of you anymore." She reached out, cupping Jiang Fan's cheeks with her hands, and said, "You must take care of yourself at the front line. I'd rather be in danger myself than hear any bad news about you." Feeling the warmth on his arm, listening to her heartfelt concern, Jiang Fan reminisced about the first time he met Liu Qingxian. She was so proud. Now, for his sake, she showed a unique gentleness. He couldn't help but feel his heart surge. He lowered his head and gave her a gentle kiss on her red lips. "I will come back safely to see you." Liu Qingxian, caught off guard, instantly blushed like rouge. She hurriedly covered her face and ran into the thatched cottage, turning her back to Jiang Fan and saying, "In broad daylight, you don't know shame." But recalling that she was the one who kissed Jiang Fan first, she became even more embarrassed and stomped her feet, saying, You go quickly. Don't delay my cultivation." Outside the room, there was no sound. She turned around to look. Where was Jiang Fan's figure? Gone already. Liu Qingxian bit her red lips lightly, her face full of melancholy. Suddenly, she found something pressed on the stone table in the courtyard, walking closer to see. It was 2 long-written sword scriptures. One was a high-level, profound-level mental method, the dragon-seeking scripture. The other was an earth-level, powerful swordsmanship, the sword heart engraving. Liu Qingxian's beautiful eyes gleamed, and she grabbed them tightly, holding them to her chest. Her face showed endless shyness, because this cultivation technique was only taught by Jiang Fan to his women. The previous 2 who learned this technique were Su Yoren and Chen Silin. She was the 3rd one. This meant that Jiang Fan genuinely accepted her. "Fan," Liu Qingxian whispered softly. Her happy mood was like waves, one after another, unable to calm down for a long time. Speaking of Jiang Fan, he arrived at the command post, accepted the unlimited task to kill demon beasts, then rode on by, raising a snowstorm that disappeared at the horizon. In the vast snow, a massive army of demon beasts was marching rapidly toward No Return Mountain. Leading the demon beasts, one was covered in a thick turtle shell resembling a giant turtle, but the head that it extended was covered in barbs. Its eyes glowed red, and its mouth had retractable fangs. It looked extremely fierce. The ones following behind were either thick-skinned or covered in scales. All were demon beasts with extremely high defensive capabilities. Even among demon beasts known for their powerful physique, they were considered outstanding. "Lord Xianxia, we've finally crossed the front line. Why not head straight for Sunset City? If we breach it, the human clan's command outpost will be destroyed, and their frontline will inevitably collapse. We will accomplish immortal feats." A giant beast trailing behind the turtle demon, resembling a pangolin, communicated in the demon race language. Xianxia didn't even turn his head and snorted. "With just us, you think we can breach Sunset City? Not to mention how many sect masters of the 9 sect have secretly arrived at Sunset City. Just that vice pavilion master of the heavenly mechanism pavilion guarding Sunset City is someone you and I can handle. With a wave of his hand, we would be dead without knowing how we died." Xianxia's strength was equivalent to the 6th level of core formation. Following behind him, the Black Mountain was only at the 5th level of core formation. Plus, there were a dozen or so demon beasts at the 4th and 5th level of core formation. It seemed like a grand momentum, causing a significant impact on any sect of the 9 sect. But Xianxia knew very well the horror of the ultimate human experts. If they dared to attack Sunset City, the human experts in the city would treat them as gifts from nature, smiling as they collected their demon cores and spiritual meat. With that walnut-sized brain of yours, you stop coming up with bad ideas. Our only goal is to follow concubine Xianxia's orders to the cave guarded by the giant sect. According to what concubine Xianxia said, this cave was once a place where a great master who was half human, half demon cultivated. It likely holds the holy scripture Brahma Saint True Spirit technique that shook the demon race back then. That great one who once unified the demon realm and peaked at the divinity transformation realm, achieved it through practicing half of the Brahma Saint True Spirit technique. If we can find the full version of the Brahma Saint True Spirit technique, our Demon Emperor can relive the glory of the past Supreme Demon Emperor. No, surpass it. Becoming an existence in the divinity transformation realm. Black Mountain hesitated, but this place has been excavated by the giant sect for hundreds of years. If the Brahma Saint True Spirit technique existed, it would have been found long ago. Xianxia sneered. Even if you give the giant sect another 100 years, they wouldn't find the Brahma Saint True Spirit technique. Unless they, like us, have a drop of essence blood left by the senior, which can sense the location of the Brahma Saint True Spirit technique. Or they practice the senior's original iron blood true scripture, which can also sense it. But the giant sect clearly can't do either. These worthless beings, digging for hundreds of years, haven't found the true treasure. They only got some ordinary body refinement techniques and are proud of it. Rest assured, until we get there, the Brahma Saint True Spirit technique will always wait for us. Black Mountain became excited. If we can find that legendary holy scripture, it would be a significant achievement. However, it began to worry and said, "This cave is the origin of the giant sect, and it is said that an elder in the late stage of core formation is stationed here all year round. Can we handle it?" Xianxia only had the strength of the 6th level of core formation. The elder of the giant sect might very well be at the 7th level of core formation. Xianxia chuckled. Do you think concubine Xianxia hasn't considered that? If this elder of the giant sect is a magic cultivator with his various magic artifacts and cultivation techniques, going there would certainly mean death. But the giant sect is a body-refining sect. Their proud physique poses no threat to us beast kings who are renowned for our strong defense. Black Mountain finally understood. That was why the beast kings in this journey were primarily focused on defense. Even though Xianxia only had the strength of the 6th level of core formation, his defense was so high that even a 7th level elder of the giant sect couldn't do anything to him. This trip was bound to succeed. At the same time, a young calf was joyfully galloping on the snowfield. All of a sudden, its soul shuddered as if a cold, long sword was placed against its soul. It felt like it could be split in half at any moment. This feeling. It had only felt this sensation when being scrutinized by the heavenly mechanism pavilion master, turning its head. It saw Jiang Fan on its back, not sure what cultivation technique he was practicing. The space around him started to subtly distort. A terrifying burst of soul power suddenly shot out from his glabella. Soul-shocking stab? With a low shout from Jiang Fan, a nearly tangible, finger-long, transparent nail abruptly shot from his glabella, striking an ice mountain ahead. With a bang, the ice mountain exploded into fragments on the spot. This was a soul attack, yet it still caused significant damage to physical objects. If it hit a human soul, the outcome would be unimaginable. Jiang Fan nodded slightly. After days of intense cultivation, I finally mastered the soul-shocking stab. I just don't know its actual power. It would be great if I could find a demon to test it on. As soon as he finished speaking, the calf he was riding stumbled, nearly collapsing to the ground. Jiang Fan almost got thrown off. "What's wrong?" Jiang Fan asked with a frown. Bai stammered, "Nothing. Just up ahead is No Return Mountain." Jiang Fan looked up. Indeed, he saw a snow mountain with its peak flattened. This was the origin of the giant sect, No Return Mountain. Jiang Fan frowned. "The mountain has been flattened. What could possibly be left? You stay here and remain invisible. No need to take risks with me." After instructing Bai, he used a movement technique, lightly stepping on the thick snowfield like a dragonfly skimming the water. He left no trace in the snow, arrived at the foot of No Return Mountain. Who goes there? As soon as he reached the foot, several martial artists from the giant sect leaped out from the side. They aggressively surrounded Jiang Fan in a semicircle. Jiang Fan calmly said, "I am Jiang Fan, a disciple of the Green Cloud sect. I'm here on official business." As soon as he finished speaking, one of the giant sect's martial artists exclaimed in surprise, "Jiang Fan, you are the disciple Jiang Fan from the Green Cloud sect." Jiang Fan looked towards the voice. He was surprised to see that it was none other than Sun Caizong. At the Desire Sect's disciple trade fair, Jiang Fan had crippled his arms. A month had passed and he had fully recovered. However, back then Jiang Fan wore a mask, and he also wore a mask when he ambushed Tai Bubai. Sun Caizong shouldn't recognize him. "Caizong, you know him?" one of the martial artists asked, slightly surprised. Sun Caizong said with hatred, "Of course I do. My master was crippled because of him. Before leaving the Green Cloud sect, My master said that it was a little disciple named Jiang Fan who caused the deterrence of the nascent soul jade token to fail. And it was he who suggested to the Green Cloud Sect master to cripple my master's cultivation. Later, because my master lost his cultivation, he was assassinated. His death is his fault. What? The other martial artists of the giant sect were instantly enraged. They all closed in on Jiang Fan. Sun Caozong was furious. You caused my master's death. Yet you still dare to come to our giant sect's holy land. Unbelievable. Today you won't leave here unharmed. Jiang Fan calmly took out a bronze token and waved it in front of them. Look carefully. Your sect master sent me. The instant the bronze token appeared, the faces of the martial artists surrounding him changed. Sect master's token? Impossible. This token is awarded to meritorious disciples only. How could the sect master give it to an outsider? Sun Caozong found it hard to believe. Why would the sect master allow an enemy into the giant sect's holy land? He shouted, "How did you get this token?" Jiang Fan said plainly, "Are you implying that your sect master Kong is so incompetent that I could steal this token without his knowledge? Or are you saying your sect master Kong is so reckless and foolish that he lost such an important token?" Sun Caozong was startled. He quickly rebuked, "I didn't mean that, don't talk nonsense." Jiang Fan waved the bronze token again and said coldly, "Then what are you babbling about?" "Make way for me." Sun Caozong clenched his fists. He stood there unwilling to move, not daring to question the origin of the bronze token, yet unwilling to let Jiang Fan in. "Move aside!" At that moment, an ancient yet powerful voice came from the mountain peak. Sun Caozong and the others immediately became serious and bowed to the mountain peak. "Elder Fan!" Jiang Fan looked up. He saw a brawny figure standing at the flattened peak. "Since he holds the sect master's bronze token, let him pass." "But he can only stay for one day." Jiang Fan's eyes shifted slightly. According to his memory, the second elder of the giant sect was named Fan Xingkang. He was a renowned body refining ace at the 7th level of core formation. His strength was second only to the former great elder, Tai Bubai. Unexpectedly, the giant sect valued the Holy Land so much. The more they valued it, the more it indicated that this place had significant value for excavation. He immediately cupped his hands. "Understood, elder." Then he climbed up the mountain path to the peak of No Return Mountain. He saw a group of giant sect disciples, bare-chested, digging the earth with shovels. They carefully inspected the dug-up soil to ensure there were no hidden treasures before dumping it off the cliff. The old cave had long been dug out of existence. Only pockmarked yellow earth remained. Anyone unaware would think this was a mining site. There was no sign of a cave here. "Take this." Sun Caozong handed a shovel to Jiang Fan with mock politeness. "Since you're here, help us dig a bit. Most of the cave's treasures are buried underground. If you want to find anything valuable, you'll need to put in some effort." At first, Sun Caozong was furious. But then he thought, it had been decades since any treasure like the Iron Blood True Scripture had surfaced from this cave. What's the likelihood of Jiang Fan finding something in one day? Jiang Fan ignored him. He patted the sleeping little Qilin in his arms. It wriggled its haunches and grumbled, "I want to sleep. Don't disturb me." Jiang Fan took out a revitalizing pill and fed it to him. The little Qilin drowsily opened its eyes and slowly chewed the pill. But it didn't devour it as eagerly as before. Instead, it closed its eyes and was about to fall back asleep. Jiang Fan frowned. The little Qilin was becoming increasingly sleepy. Even its favorite spirit pill couldn't excite it anymore. Was something wrong with it? He decided to thoroughly examine it once they left this place. "Don't sleep just yet, see if there's any treasure here." Looking at the desolate land, he did not hold much hope. The little Qilin lazily opened its eyes and said, "Let me have a look." After a while, it occasionally showed surprise and frowned. "This place seems to have been quite extraordinary. However, there is only one barely acceptable thing 10 feet underground in the northwest corner. Other than that, there is nothing else." Jiang Fan sighed. As expected, the mountain tops here had been leveled. How could there be any good things left? As for the barely acceptable thing, he was too lazy to waste his energy on it. The soil here had been soaked by ice and snow for years, making it as hard as iron. 10 feet deep seemed like nothing, but without using some means, it might not be possible to dig through it in a day. "What? Leaving already?" Sun Caozong said sarcastically. "I thought you were determined to get it. I didn't expect you to run off with your tail between your legs after a moment." Jiang Fan frowned. He didn't want to pay attention to such a person. Since he said that, how could Jiang Fan leave empty-handed? He immediately walked to a spot in the northwest corner mentioned by the little Qilin. He drew the Sorrow Frost sword and struck the ground with his palm. With a hiss. Despite the sharpness of the Sorrow Frost sword, it only penetrated 5 feet underground. Boy, this place is for digging, not stabbing. Sun Caozong rolled his eyes and said, every inch of soil here might harbor treasures. Our sect's secret technique, Iron Blood True Scripture, was found in some unremarkable soil. Your random stabs, not to mention whether you find anything, could even destroy any treasures you come across. Jiang Fan ignored him. After retrieving the Sorrow Frost sword, he glanced at the sword hole. Then he took out a black iron ball. It was one of the 2 cloud burst iron balls that Lin Yuheng had given him when he first came to the Green Cloud Sect. Their power was astonishing, perfect for blasting open such frozen soil. He threw the cloud burst iron ball into the hole. Then he immediately retreated dozens of feet away. Sun Caozong was stunned and frowned. What did you throw, BZZZ? Suddenly, the ground began to shake. A massive amount of energy was surging out on the verge of exploding. Sun Caozong finally realized what Jiang Fan was doing and his face changed. He quickly ran away, but he was a step too late. Boom! The cloud burst iron ball exploded. 10 feet of frozen soil was blasted into the sky. Sun Caozong, at the edge of the explosion, was hit by a piece of hard frozen soil on his back and was sent flying with a thud. He landed heavily at Jiang Fan's feet, face down. A metallic taste welled up in his throat, and his back was in immense pain. No need to look, he knew his flesh was definitely torn open. Jiang Fan! Sun Caozong got up and yelled angrily. Jiang Fan, with a blank expression, walked to the 10-foot-deep pit created by the explosion. The frozen soil had turned charred black. He jumped down. With a sweep of his foot, he cleared a layer of thin soil, revealing a palm-sized black box. Its material was unknown. Despite being buried underground for so long, it only had slight moisture on its surface. What caught his attention was the poison pill inside him lightly throbbed, reacting to the black box. Sun Caozong caught up and shouted angrily, messing around like that, even if there were treasures, they would be blown away. However, when he saw the black box in front of Jiang Fan, he stopped mid-sentence. His face immediately showed joy and he shouted, "Something's here! Something's here!" After decades, something was unearthed from the cave again. Could it be another divine object like the Iron Blood True Scripture? He rushed down and grabbed the black box first. To his surprise, Jiang Fan didn't compete with him, even stepping back a few steps, hiding in the distance. Sun Caozong was taken aback, realizing the black box might have some trap, and Jiang Fan was letting him test it first. But by the time he reacted, his hand was already touching the black box. In an instant, a strong black poisonous mist burst from the black box, instantly swallowing Sun Caozong's hand, hiss, 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 in a breath. His hand was corroded to bare bones. Even the bones were rapidly melting. The delayed pain transmitted to his brain, making Sun Caozong scream in agony. What terrified him more was the poisonous mist quickly spread from his hand to his arm. Wherever it passed, flesh rotted and bones turned to sludge. It was immensely more potent than the poison of the 7-colored poison toad. At the critical moment, a figure descended from the sky, decisively and ruthlessly chopping at Sun Caozong's poisoned right shoulder. With a puff, his right arm was severed at the shoulder and thrown away, landing on the ground. Instantly, the arm turned into sludge. The nearby frozen soil was corroded into a 3-foot-deep pit. "How many times have I told you don't be reckless?" The newcomer was none other than Fan Xingkang. Clad in a chain-woven iron armor, his burly body was covered in explosive muscles. His bearded face also had chunked muscles, making him look extremely fierce. At this moment, he slapped Sun Caozong and scolded angrily. "Every treasure here has some degree of poison. How many people have lost their lives for this? Why haven't you learned your lesson?" As he spoke, he glared harshly at Jiang Fan and snorted, "You sure are cunning, using our sect's disciple to test the danger for you." Although he despised Jiang Fan, he had to admit Jiang Fan had a stronger mentality than Sun Caozong. It was Jiang Fan's first time in the Holy Land, and while unaware of the poisonous nature of the treasures, he still sensed the danger and acted cautiously. On the other hand, despite being warned repeatedly about the poison, Sun Caozong couldn't curb his greed and fell victim to it. The contrast between their mentalities was stark. Jiang Fan cupped his hands and said, "Elder Fan, it's unfair to accuse this junior. I only acted clumsily, not as quickly as senior brother Sun. How dare I let senior brother Sun take risks for me?" Despite his words, He was very cautious with the knout-riggered black box. He retreated several more steps, enveloping himself with a layer of spiritual power, and threw a handful of soil towards the black box. With a bang, the black box lid abruptly popped open. Another puff of poisonous mist burst forth, spreading rapidly. Fan Xingkang waved his hand, scattering the mist away from himself and Sun Caozong. Jiang Fan, being prepared, blocked the mist with his spiritual power. Fan Xingkang glared fiercely at Jiang Fan. This was clumsy. You're more cunning than a rabbit. You didn't fall for the second trap either. Jiang Fan acted oblivious and approached the black box. Inside, a palm-sized scale lay quietly, emitting a faint poisonous mist. Is this what the little Qilin was referring to? Jiang Fan picked it up, examined it briefly, and was surprised. A scale? Besides being quite tough, it really isn't anything special. No wonder the little Qilin sensed it was very ordinary, barely considered a treasure. While Jiang Fan was thinking this, unexpectedly, he noticed his blood boiling uncontrollably. The Iron Blood True Scripture activated itself. Jiang Fan was surprised. His mind swiftly turned. The Iron Blood True Scripture comes from here. Could there be some hidden connection between the scale and the Iron Blood True Scripture? He realized. This scale was not just extraordinary on the surface. What is this? Let me have a look. Fan Xingkang's old eyes burned as he stared at the scale. Jiang Fan gripped the scale tightly, quietly staring back at him. I just want to have a look. Do you think I would snatch something from a junior? Fan Xingkang snorted heavily, his face showing an expression that brooked no argument. A look. If it wasn't valuable, it wouldn't matter. If it was valuable once it was in Fan Xingkang's hands, how could it be given back to Jiang Fan? Jiang Fan's eyes flickered, his face showing a contemplative expression. Fan Xingkang grew impatient, narrowing his eyes. Something unearthed in the holy land of the giant sect. Without my examination, even if it's just a stone, you can't take it away. As expected, the giant sect had no credibility at all. Obviously, with this token, anything Jiang Fan dug up within a day should belong to him. But now there was a blatant threat. No outside chance to take precious treasures. After saying this, Fan Xingkang's eyes showed a hint of ruthlessness. At this moment, Jiang Fan smiled slightly, casually tossing the scale over. It's just a scale. If your sect can't bear to part with it, then take it. I don't even want it. Fan Xingkang grabbed the scale, his face slightly relaxed. Immediately, he closely inspected it. Apart from being hard and slightly toxic, there was nothing special about it. There were no cultivation technique inscriptions, nor were there any hidden rune messages, just an ordinary scale. He couldn't help but wonder, since it's such an ordinary item, why keep it in a black box? And why bury it so deep? The Iron Blood True Scripture wasn't even buried this deep. Unwilling, he used various secret techniques to try. Burning, soaking, using spiritual liquid, and even found a dual cultivation disciple to infuse spiritual power. None of it worked. The scale showed no changes. It really is just an ordinary scale, Fan Xingkang confirmed thoroughly. Let out a long sigh. Jiang Fan chuckled. Since it's an ordinary scale, your sect should keep it well. I will advise other sect disciples not to trust the giant sect's promises. Even the sect master's promises should be taken as nothing. Otherwise, they'll end up like me, wasting efforts. With that, he flicked his sleeve and leaped out of the pit. Fan Xingkang's face turned blue and red. If it was valuable, sacrificing fame to keep it would be worth it. But to ruin the giant sect's sect master's reputation for a worthless scale was not worth it. He jumped up to follow and hummed, "What are you talking about? I merely helped you examine it. When did I say I wanted to keep it? Take it back." With a flick of his fingers, he sent the scale flying back. Jiang Fan, thinking for a moment, pretended to reluctantly catch it. But inside, he was secretly pleased. Dealing with an old monster like this, one had to play psychological games. The more Jiang Fan cared, the more the other would believe the scale held secrets and would not return it easily. The more he pretended not to care, the other would drop their guard instead. See, the scale was returned. And as soon as he held it, the Iron Blood True Scripture activated again, triggering his dragon-elephant battle body. A high-pitched roaring sound came from within his body, as if longing for something. Soon after, the scale began to move on its own. Like a compass, it spun in his palm, finally pointing to the bottom of the cliff where the waste was dumped. Jiang Fan's heart jolted. Could there be a treasure beneath the cliff? This scale was not only buried deeply, but needed the Iron Blood True Scripture to activate, and its purpose was just to guide. The conditions were designed to be so stringent. One could only imagine the treasure it pointed to, how astonishing it must be. The problem was, he had just discovered a scale and Fan Xingkang had to forcibly check it. If he really dug up that treasure, how could it end up in Jiang Fan's hands? Moreover, Jiang Fan pinpointing an extremely deep-buried treasure, even a fool would guess he had some treasure-detecting ability. In the next day, his actions would be closely monitored. The moment he started digging, Fan Xingkang would send people to seize the ground. His eyes flashed slightly. Jiang Fan quietly put away the scale. Seemingly looking for something, he casually chose a spot, just lifted a shovel to start digging. Fan Xingkang narrowed his eyes, immediately called over 2 giant Sect disciples passing by. "You two help him dig. Guests should not tire themselves." 2 disciples immediately dropped their work, ran to start digging around Jiang Fan. Sure enough, Jiang Fan was being watched. After digging 3 or 4 feet, Jiang Fan gave up, choosing another spot to dig. Fan Xingkang called more disciples to dig nearby. Thus, this went on for more than half a day. No matter where Jiang Fan chose, Fan Xingkang would find an excuse to have disciples help him dig. This way, if they dug up anything, Fan Xingkang could easily claim it was the giant Sect disciples who found it, and had nothing to do with Jiang Fan. This is troublesome, Jiang Fan thought quietly. It was impossible to dig up the spot indicated by the scale today. Otherwise, it would be giving Fan Xingkang the achievement. He could only find another opportunity to sneak here and dig later. Suddenly, Jiang Fan suddenly raised his hand to grip the hilt of the sword on his back, narrowing his eyes to stare at the ground beneath him. The gravel on the ground shook unexpectedly. Then again and again, soon the entire mountaintop began to shake. Fan Xingkang's eyes shone as he glanced at the sky. A row of moving mountains kicking up snow charged toward No Return Mountain. Fan Xingkang's face changed color, shouting, "All disciples and deacons gather at the mountaintop. There are demon beasts attacking." His expression turned grave. This place wasn't far from the front line of the beast tide. Occasionally some stray demon beasts wandered here. The weak ones he easily killed. The stronger ones ran away as soon as he made a move. But now there were more than a dozen, each one more powerful than the 4th layer of core formation. Even the strongest among them almost as strong as him. What shocked Fan Xingkang most? They had a purpose, heading straight for No Return Mountain. Rustling, the giant Sect disciples, also noticing the anomaly, gathered uneasily around Fan Xingkang, staring at the imposing Beast King horde, hearts pounding. Jiang Fan's face also changed slightly. He immediately retreated, intending to stay away from trouble. "Young Master Jiang, since you are here, please lend a hand to our giant Sect." Fan Xingkang noticed Jiang Fan's movement, his mouth twitching. This little brat running really fast, he immediately called out to him. Jiang Fan replied without hesitation. "This junior is weak. Staying here would only add to Elder Fan's troubles. I'll keep my distance so Elder Fan can fight without restraint." Expect him to help the giant Sect fight Beast King Tide. What a nerve! Fan Xingkang cursed internally. "Your strength is insignificant." With a casual strike, you could drive a sword 5 zhang deep into the ground. Among the people present, only a few with the strength of the 4th layer of core formation could do that. The others simply could not. He swallowed his anger and said, "Young Master Jiang, this elder will not let you assist for nothing. If you successfully kill a Beast King, this elder will gift you an array flag." As he spoke, he took out a tattered, finger-long, mesmerizing small flag from his sleeve. Though it looked small, it emitted a profound aura. One glance revealed it was no ordinary item. "This is a treasured item from our giant Sect's treasury, the 5-colored array flag. Just infuse it with spiritual power and it will activate. Some flags have illusory effects, some have defensive power, and some can directly attack. If you kill one, I will give you 1 flag. If you perform outstandingly, I'll give you all 5 flags. What do you think?" After a brief hesitation, Jiang Fan asked, "How powerful are these flags? If they are too weak, risking my life against a Beast King wouldn't be worth it." Fan Xingkang snorted quietly. What a person who won't take action without seeing the reward. He said nothing further. He took out a small red flag and tossed it towards the Beast King Tide at the mountain's base. The small flag immediately grew in the wind. In a moment it transformed into a gigantic flag, 10 zhang high. From the flag emerged a long fire dragon burning the approaching demon beasts. Even from 100 zhang away, Jiang Fan felt waves of heat. His eyes showed surprise. 4th layer of core formations attack? Unlike ordinary talismans, array flags are magical treasures that can be used multiple times. They are incredibly useful for killing demon beasts on the front lines. He was slightly tempted. However, he did not let his judgment be clouded. Everyone knows the questionable nature of the giant sect. Such a good treasure, instead of giving it to the disciples on the front lines to kill beast kings and earn merit, they would give it to an outsider. Even thinking with his toes, he knew Fan Xingkang wanted to use him freely. Once the beast kings were driven away, they would turn on him instantly. Yet Jiang Fan did not refuse. He pretended to be excited and said, "Good. It's a deal." He immediately drew his Sorrow Frost sword and prepared for battle. Fan Xingkang's lips curved slightly and he sneered inwardly, "Fool! Look at yourself in a mirror. Do you deserve my sect's treasure? It's reserved for Jin Zhongming." But his face showed gratitude. "Rest assured, this elder can be trusted." As soon as he finished speaking, the beast tied at the mountain's base reacted. Xianxia sneered, "The elder sitting here in the giant sect, is this all you can do?" It suddenly opened its mouth, taking a deep breath. Then with force it exhaled. A visible hurricane was created out of thin air. Sweeping the ice and snow within hundreds of zhang, it charged against the overwhelming flames. From the mountain peak, everyone was instantly swept off the ground by the hurricane. Jiang Fan's expression changed slightly. He thrust his sword into the ground, barely resisting the hurricane. The disciples and deacons of the giant sect used their own divine skills. Some planted their feet into the ground. Others clung to the rocks on the ground. A few deacons relied on their strong physique to withstand the hurricane. Even so, 2 weaker disciples got swept into the hurricane. The hurricane was filled with rapidly spinning ice shards. Being caught in it meant certain death. Before Fan Xingkang could come to their aid, the two were already turned into bloody mist, their bones obliterated. Jiang Fan was secretly shocked. This was a core formation 6th-layer demon beast, much stronger than the silver-winged thunderbird at the 5th level of core formation, and the mountain peak was still greatly affected. The flames from the sky were naturally swept away by the hurricane. If not for Fan Xingkang's timely action, even the array flag would have been blown away. A mere core formation 6th-layer demon beast dares to behave so arrogantly in our giant sect's holy land. Deacons, follow me. The rest of the disciples hold the mountain peak. As he spoke, he glanced at Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan understood his intention and unsheathed his sword to follow down the mountain. Xianxia chuckled, "I'll deal with that giant sect elder. You handle the others." Facing the charging Fan Xingkang, it was not intimidated at all. Fan Xingkang's mutton chop whiskers twitched. Arrogant? Immediately, his muscles bulged, gathering a terrifying force in his fist, and he struck fiercely at Xianxia. As the fist landed, even Jiang Fan, who was not far away, felt a powerful shockwave radiate out. He quickly used his movement technique, barely stabilizing himself. The other deacons were not so lucky, instantly blasted in all directions, crashing into the ice mountain. Jiang Fan was secretly startled. This was indeed the second elder of the giant sect. What looked like an ordinary punch had incredible power. They were merely affected by the punch's shockwave, yet they struggled to maintain their balance. One could not imagine the result of taking the punch directly. Xianxia laughed loudly, as black and enormous patterns emerged from its giant shell, layer upon layer, forming a protection akin to a massive array. Fan Xingkang's terrifying punch shattered several layers of the array, but it also consumed much of its power. When it finally hit the shell, a loud, bell-like sound echoed, sweeping around them. The nearby beast kings were all knocked over. The 100-jang-tall no-return mountain trembled violently, thick snow fell, and boulders crumbled and collapsed. But Xianxia remained unscathed, sneering. "Second elder of the giant sect, that's all you've got." Meanwhile, it suddenly lunged forward with a ferocious head, striking Fan Xingkang like black lightning. Fan Xingkang's expression changed, raising his arms defensively, but was blasted away like a cannonball, crashing into the cliffside. "Damned beast!" Fan Xingkang cursed in anger. This turtle demon's attacks were not particularly strong, but its defense was absurdly high, a nemesis to warriors like him who relied on physical strength. At the 7th level of core formation, he was struggling against a 6th layer. Gritting his teeth, he charged forward again, commanding, "Everyone attack!" The deacons immediately unleashed their body's power. The result made Fan Xingkang's heart sink. All the other beast kings also had extremely high defense. The deacons could not effectively damage them. Instead, due to their lesser numbers, they were quickly surrounded. At this moment, Fan Xingkang saw Jiang Fan, his eyes brightening slightly. "Young Master Jiang, what are you waiting for?" Among them, only Jiang Fan was a magic cultivator martial artist. The only one not countered. Jiang Fan nodded, gripped his Sorrow Frost sword, and charged at the weakest core formation 4th layer demon beast. Take this, heaven and earth star fall? However, the demon beast just looked at Jiang Fan disdainfully and swung its tail hard. With a dull thud, Jiang Fan was sent flying, crashing into the snow and laying still. Blood trickled from his lips, eyes closed. He had been killed in one hit. Fan Xingkang raged, over already? Waste, Xianxia laughed, brothers, don't let them escape. Kill them all. The Beast Kings and the giant Sect warriors immediately engaged in chaotic battle. No one noticed. Jiang Fan, who had been lying on the ground, quietly opened his eyes. Mansion both sides were locked in fierce battle and had no time to pay attention to him. He silently took out the turtle breath cloak and draped it over himself. In an instant, he vanished into thin air. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and lifted his robe to inspect the silver-white armor underneath. Indeed, this core formation 5th level defensive armor was quite useful. You all can keep fighting. I'm going to see what kind of treasure this divine object really is. Jiang Fan secretly laughed to himself. Did they think they could trick him into dying with such powerful beast kings? What were they thinking? He stayed behind only to take advantage of the chaos to seize that item. He immediately took out the scale, guided by the scale. He silently arrived at the back mountain of No Return Mountain, a sheer cliff 100 feet deep, half filled by the giant Sect's waste over the centuries. If any secret cave was buried at the bottom, it would be a futile effort. Fortunately, the direction indicated by the scale was a cliff face. It was several dozen feet above the waist. The cliff was covered in smooth, sheer ice and snow. Ordinary people could hardly reach it. It's no wonder the giant Sect hadn't discovered it. Unless they spent a few more centuries flattening No Return Mountain, they wouldn't find it. This was not a challenge for Jiang Fan at all. He tied several rough, sharp crystal stones to the soles of his shoes to prevent slipping. Then, using his movement technique, he walked on the smooth, icy cliff as if it were flat ground. Soon, following the scale's guidance, he found a cave hidden beneath the snow and ice. So there's more to this. The inside of the cave was extremely large. It had been hollowed out of the mountainside by sharp claws. The interior was simple and spacious, resembling a secluded room specifically for cultivating techniques. Apart from the numerous cultivation marks on the ground, there was nothing else. Jiang Fan searched around, finding the cave empty. The scale in his palm became inactive upon entering the cave. Nothing at all. Jiang Fan rubbed his chin, deep in thought. It shouldn't be like this. For such harsh conditions to lead here, there should be something. Either the items here are well hidden or someone has taken them already. But judging by the untouched snow at the entrance, it doesn't seem like anyone has been here. After careful consideration, Jiang Fan's gaze flickered, and he activated the Iron Blood True Scripture, releasing the dragon elephant battle body. As his body emitted sounds resembling roaring dragons and elephants, the northeast corner of the cave responded with a rumbling sound. Jiang Fan focused his eyes. The stone wall in that corner suddenly opened automatically, revealing an inner wall the size of a Buddha shrine. Inside was a small beast skin bundle. He was overjoyed, but calmly he did not rush forward. Instead, from a distance, he used his sword control technique to carefully pick up the bundle. At the moment the bundle left the ground, with a loud boom, the ground where the bundle had been sprayed out a black, liquid poison. It was tens of times more concentrated than the previous poisonous fog. If sprayed directly, even a peerless expert at the 9th layer of core formation would be turned into a puddle of poisonous flesh. Water, he couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. What was that senior thinking? Leaving the scale was clearly intended to guide someone to inherit this item. So why set such a deadly trap? Now he dared not touch the bundle directly. Keeping his distance, he used the Sorrow Frost sword to cut open the bundle from afar. As the beast skin unraveled, a bone as clear as jade came into view. The bone was engraved with countless characters from the demon race. It seems to be a demon clan technique. Jiang Fan was deeply disappointed. But then he noticed a small piece of beast skin beside the jade bone, also covered in writing. It contained both demon race characters and human clan characters. Jiang Fan looked closer and saw it read, "If you can read this letter, it means you have passed my test. The martial path is one that goes against heaven, full of dangers, and without a cautious heart, even if you inherit my legacy, you will fall sooner or later. Rather than letting my legacy be cut off, it's better to leave it here, continuing to await someone destined." Jiang Fan suddenly understood. No wonder this senior set up so many traps. It was meant to select a suitable inheritor. Jiang Fan couldn't help but find it amusing. This was clearly a cultivation technique for the demon race. What use did it have for a human like him? The body structures of the human clan and the demon race were vastly different. This made their cultivation techniques extremely exclusive. It was impossible for humans to cultivate demon clan techniques. However, upon reading further, Jiang Fan's heart suddenly shook. My father belonged to the human clan nascent soul cultivators, while my mother was a transformed member of the demon race. Hence, I have the bloodline of both the demon and human clans. From birth, neither the human clan welcomed me, nor did the demon race accept me. Thanks to my parents' profound knowledge and my own extraordinary talent, I combined both races' techniques to create the Earth-level high technique Brahma Saint True Spirit technique. This technique is a body refinement method suitable for both the human clan and the demon race. Reading this far, Jiang Fan was utterly shocked. The senior before his eyes was a unique being of mixed demon and human heritage. One parent was a nascent soul great cultivator of the human clan, and the other a demon emperor. What astounded Jiang Fan the most was, this individual had managed to create an Earth-level high technique. What kind of concept was that? The Earth-level high technique soul cutting 3 forms he obtained from the void ancient tree was difficult for him to comprehend, let alone creating an unprecedented Earth-level high technique suitable for both the demon and human clans. He truly wasn't exaggerating when they called themselves exceptionally talented. Indeed, they were worthy of such a title. Junior, having inherited the legacy, practice it well. This technique is not easy to cultivate. Prepare yourself mentally. Additionally, I owe Venerate Wudong a promise. If you ever achieve success in your cultivation, could you go to the great wilderness forbidden land and tell her? Liu Qingxian cannot fulfill his promise. A gust of wind blew by. The beast-skin letter, having existed for untold years, crumbled like ashes. With the regret of time and space, it drifted away with the wind. Jiang Fan remained silent for a while. Even a peerless expert like Senior Liu had unfulfilled regrets. He quietly repeated the words Great Wilderness Forbidden Land and Supreme Venerate Wudong. If he had a chance, he would visit. However, looking at the jade bone filled with demon race characters, Jiang Fan wore a bitter smile. Senior Liu, why didn't you engrave it in human clan characters as well? Demon race characters, I truly do not understand them. Having been at a loss several times due to illiteracy, Jiang Fan felt it was necessary to learn the demon race characters. The pill book silver scroll from the white crystal beast's stomach was like this. The Brahma Saint True Spirit technique before him was the same. With a sigh, Jiang Fan stored it in the heavenly thunder stone space. Confirming there was nothing else missing around, he prepared to leave the place. But as soon as he stood up, he felt a barely perceptible tremor in the cave. Something was nearby. His heart skipped a beat. He quickly donned the turtle breath cloak. Finding a corner, he concealed his aura and spiritual power fluctuations. He watched the cave entrance without moving. What puzzled him was, after waiting for a long time, he didn't see anything entering the cave. Just as he was wondering, suddenly his pupils shrank. He saw enormous footprints appearing on the ground near the cave entrance out of thin air. Something invisible had come in. He held his breath and watched the changes in the footprints without moving. What surprised him slightly was, the footprints headed straight for the northeast corner. It seemed as if the other party could sense something. When the other party discovered that the hidden place had already been opened, it became violently angry. Who got here first? A strong aura disrupted the invisibility, revealing a huge body. It was the Xianxia with strength reaching the 6th level of core formation. It held an amber in its mouth, within which a blood drop kept rotating. It was the blood drop that led it to the northeast corner. Jiang Fan understood. It seems that the demon race's target is also Liu Qingxian's inheritance. Luckily, I got here first. Suddenly his gaze fell on the blood drop in Xianxia's mouth, and his heart slightly skipped a beat. Could this be Liu Qingxian's essence blood? Wouldn't that mean blood of the divinity transformation realm? His mouth became dry. The life-changing jade disc required a drop of essence blood from the divinity transformation realm to nurture the sky-reaching marrow needed to break through the nascent soul realm. Jiang Fan had utterly given up hope on this. After all, essence blood of the divinity transformation realm was nowhere to be found. But who would have thought there would be a drop right before his eyes? This rekindled his hope for the life-changing jade disc. However, the Xianxia was something even Fan Xingkang couldn't handle. To snatch the essence blood of the divinity transformation realm from its mouth was nothing short of a pipe dream. At this moment, the sound of wind and snow outside suddenly grew rapid. A figure hurriedly chased in. It was Fan Xingkang. He looked around with surprise and delight. There's actually a hidden cave mansion in No Return Mountain? The Xianxia's blood-red eyes bulged in shock. Weren't you surrounded by my men? Fan Xingkang, with his hands behind his back, wore a teasing expression. If I didn't feign weakness, how would you have brought me here? To become the second elder of a sect, how could he be foolish? The Xianxia led a group of highly defensive beast kings prepared. It couldn't be just for him and a few people from the giant sect, right? There had to be another motive. So Fan Xingkang deliberately showed weakness everywhere and secretly followed the Xianxia to this place. The Xianxia snorted heavily. Cunning human clan? But unfortunately, like me, you are also late. Someone got here before us. From the traces, they have just arrived not long ago. Fan Xingkang followed its gaze. Indeed, there was an opened hidden compartment in the northeast corner with a beast skin bundle discarded on the ground. His face darkened. It seems there's an expert mixed among us. He squinted his old eyes looking around, appearing to examine the surroundings. But suddenly, without any warning, he struck the Xianxia. This palm strike showed his true strength. It was both fast and urgent. The Xianxia, not one to be underestimated, had already prepared defensive turtle patterns. However, these turtle patterns had no obstructing effect under Fan Xingkang's true strength. They shattered instantly. Fan Xingkang's official mountain-toppling palm strike struck heavily on the Xianxia's shell. Crack! The previously immovable shell was now covered with cracks. The intense pain made the Xianxia scream miserably. It angrily exclaimed, "Fan Xingkang, you've been hiding your strength all along." Fan Xingkang's entire body of muscles started glowing, like explosive bullets about to ignite. His rugged face showed a hint of slyness. In the martial path realm, who doesn't have some hidden cards? Did you think your defense could truly restrain my physique? With that, he gathered strength again. His muscles emitted a flashing light, giving off an extremely dangerous feeling. The Xianxia's eyelids twitched, quickly saying, "Wait, I already said. The things here have been taken, fighting each other is pointless." Fan Xingkang sneered. "Do you take me for a 3-year-old child? This place is so hidden. My giant sect hasn't discovered it in hundreds of years. You came straight here the moment you arrived. Clearly, apart from you, no second person knows about this place. So who could have gotten here first?" The Xianxia instantly said. "I really didn't take it. This place isn't only found by me. If someone cultivates the iron blood true scripture, they can also find it." Fan Xingkang's eyes flashed dangerously. "Do you believe someone in this world can cultivate the iron blood true scripture?" The requirement to cultivate the first layer of the iron blood true scripture is a special third-grade spirit pill. In the entire 9-sect land, except for the heavenly mechanism pavilion master, no one can refine this pill. But the lofty heavenly mechanism pavilion master, how would he help someone refine such a spirit pill? The Xianxia was speechless. If someone had cultivated the iron blood true scripture, how would they allow the demon race to covet this place? It seemed, aside from it, there really wasn't a second person who knew about this place. It was like mud dropping on the pants, looking like crap even if it wasn't. "But it really wasn't me," the Xianxia said aggrievedly. Fan Xingkang laughed fiercely. "Still lying at the brink of death. No worries, after I kill you, I'll slowly search." "Ha!" he shouted loudly, channeling his immense palm power and struck fiercely at the Xianxia. The Xianxia was both angry and enraged. It didn't get the meat, but got into a whole lot of trouble. Seeing Fan Xingkang's deadly strike coming, it was also unwilling to show weakness. "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" Roar, its mouth opened wide, the surrounding air was sucked in, then expelled. A violent windstorm was exhaled. Fan Xingkang was dismissive. Break, his terrifying palm power tore the windstorm apart and crashed onto the Xianxia's head like a falling star. Smack! There was a sound of blood splattering. Half of the Xianxia's head was smashed. Jiang Fan's heart raced. At this moment, Fan Xingkang exposed his true strength, probably reaching the 8th layer of core formation. Not much weaker than Kong Yuanba. Of course, if Kong Yuanba had hidden cards, that would be another story. Roar, the Xianxia howled in pain. Sensing life and death at stake, it roared fiercely with half an open mouth. "Since you want to fight to the death, I'll accompany you to the end." It lowered its head, biting out a blood-colored transparent bead from under its armpit. Inside lay a drop of golden blood, exuding unparalleled might. Fan Xingkang's pupils shrank. Essence blood of the demon emperor. The Xianxia roared grimly. Let's fight some more. It immediately raised its head and bit down to crush the blood bead, swallowing it. A miraculous scene occurred. Powerful blood energy surged from the Xianxia's body, enveloping it entirely. The Xianxia's aura rapidly increased at a visible rate. In the blink of an eye, it reached the 8th layer of core formation. Roar, it exhaled another storm. Fan Xingkang's face changed, trying to tear it apart. But in an instant, he was blown away by the storm. Immediately, the Xianxia charged. Its hard shell crashed furiously towards Fan Xingkang. The latter was furious and once again channeled terrifying palm power, striking the shell. Bam! Crack! Their fight was almost desperate. Fan Xingkang was violently knocked away, crashing into the wall. The wall cracked densely like a spider web. Fan Xingkang slid down the wall weakly, leaving a large trail of bright red blood. His flickering muscles weakened rapidly. The Xianxia fared no better. The previously cracked shell was completely broken, with blood and flesh flying everywhere. The remaining half of its head also suffered severe trauma. Only the bones connected to the skull remained, while the rest was shattered by immense force. Boom! With a loud crash, the Xianxia also fell powerlessly to the ground. Their fight resulted in mutual destruction. Both were seriously injured. An average martial artist or demon beast could easily finish them off. Fan Xingkang panted heavily, swallowing a healing pill, and said viciously, "Let's see who recovers first, you or me." The Xianxia, relying on the essence blood of the demon emperor, also sped up its healing. Its blood-red eyes roared fiercely. "Today either you die or I die." With that, it lifted its claw and struck the ground heavily. This strike caused the tremor. The violent trembling ground shook off a large part of Jiang Fan's turtle breath cloak, revealing his pair of shoes. "Who's there?" The Xianxia and Fan Xingkang both exclaimed in surprise upon noticing the anomaly. Jiang Fan sighed slightly, saying, "I originally wanted to stay hidden, since you discovered me. Then I might as well take advantage of the situation." Do the two great masters still have any hidden moves? He could not be sure. Jiang Fan planned to keep hiding until they fought to the death, then emerged to clean up the mess in the safest manner. Unfortunately, the turtle breath cloak was unintentionally broken. At the sound, Xianxia and Fan Xingkang's pupils constricted. They had fought to the death, yet there was a third party watching all along. At this realization, both the human and the demon felt a chill down their spines. Xianxia's eyes darted around as he said, "Fan Xingkang, now do you believe me? The Brahma Saint True Spirit technique has been seized by this person first. You and I should join forces to eliminate him." Fan Xingkang's eyes also shifted as he sternly shouted, "You treacherous turtle demon! This person is a member of the human clan. How could I join forces with a demon to deal with our own kind?" After he spoke, he quickly cupped his hands toward Jiang Fan and said, "Fellow Taoist, please immediately kill this turtle demon. It possesses the essence blood of the demon emperor. If it recovers, it will be troublesome." Jiang Fan chuckled lightly. A human and a demon, both cunning creatures. The turtle demon, sensing Jiang Fan's human identity, feared that Jiang Fan would side with Fan Xingkang. So it quickly allied with Fan Xingkang. Meanwhile, Fan Xingkang wanted to use Jiang Fan's hand to kill the turtle demon first. So he first stated their human clan position to stabilize Jiang Fan. Once he recovered, he planned to deal with Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan saw through both their schemes like a clear mirror. He smiled faintly and said, "Fan Xingkang, if you want my help, you must first show some sincerity. This turtle demon must have a trump card, making it difficult to deal with." Fan Xingkang's eyes gleamed as he said, "That can be arranged." He endured the pain throughout his body and took out the 5-colored array flag from his pocket, saying, "Use this flag to trap and kill the turtle demon. It is seriously injured. This flag will suffice." Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. Immediately, with a wave of his hand, he summoned the 5-colored array flag. But he did not touch it directly with his hand. Instead, he wrapped it in his sleeve, checked for any toxins, and then secured it. He turned to gaze at the turtle demon. Killing intent in his voice, he said, "Apologies, humans and demons are different by nature. I cannot leave you alive." The turtle demon's eyelids twitched violently as it said, "Wait. If you kill Fan Xingkang first, I will give you this drop of essence blood." It spat out a piece of amber. Inside was a drop of incredibly tempting essence blood. Jiang Fan's eyes burned with desire. "Is this divinity transformation realm essence blood?" Xianxia hesitated for a moment, not daring to lie, and said, "Yes, but it has lost its power over the years." Just as Jiang Fan was greatly disappointed. Xianxia added, "However, it can sense other divinity transformation realm essence blood. If you encounter it one day, it will react." Jiang Fan nodded slightly. He quickly steadied his mindset. Essence blood of the divinity transformation realm was not so easily obtained. If this were real, he would instead doubt whether there was a problem with the blood. Having a drop of depleted divinity transformation realm, essence blood could still provide a glimmer of hope for finding true essence blood in the future. He immediately summoned it from a distance. He held the 5-colored array flag in his left hand and the amber in his right, showing a look of hesitation. "Now this is difficult. Fan Xingkang gave me the 5-colored array flag to kill the turtle demon. The turtle demon gave me essence blood to kill Fan Xingkang. Should I fulfill these promises or not? If I fulfill them, I will have to kill both of you. If I don't, it goes against my principle of keeping promises." He pondered for a moment. Then he sighed and looked at Fan Xingkang and the turtle demon with an apologetic expression, saying, "My apologies to both of you. To not violate my principles. Please sacrifice yourselves." "What?" Fan Xingkang was so angry that he almost spat blood and cursed aloud. "You shameless person," clearly wanting to have it both ways, yet creating an image of keeping promises. The turtle demon was also infuriated and cursed. "I spit on you, to speak of shamelessness so elegantly." Jiang Fan smiled. He said, "I hope you both understand. I will definitely burn more incense for you in the future." Even as he spoke, he had already acted decisively. With a wave of his left hand, the 5-colored array flag immediately trapped Xianxia. The illusion array flag disoriented it. The defensive array flag kept it trapped. The attack array flag spewed terrible flames. The restriction array flag immobilized it. The soul absorption array flag automatically absorbed spiritual energy from the heaven and earth, increasing the power of the flags. In an instant, Xianxia let out a heart-wrenching scream. Under normal circumstances, this set of flags could never trap a beast king of the 6th level of core formation. But it was gravely injured. Its massive body struggled against the flags, unable to break free. Terrifying flames quickly spread over its entire body, emitting a scorched stench. "You brat! Do you think a mere array flag can destroy me?" Xianxia roared in anger and fear. It no longer dared to hold back. Immediately, it unleashed its trump card. Its head and limbs retracted into its shell simultaneously. The shell, covered with menacing spikes, began to spin at high speed. As it fiercely collided with the flags, there was a screeching sound. The defensive array flag immediately let out a strained sound, as if it were about to shatter. Even when heavily injured, it had such destructive power. If it were at full strength, who could stand against it? Xianxia roared again, "You brat! Your human attacks are useless against me. When I get out, I'll kill you first." Its rapidly spinning shell could deflect all attacks. Jiang Fan said indifferently, "We'll see if you have the life to say that." Boom, he summoned a wooden box from thin air and took out the white jade ancient zither from it. Immediately, he started playing with both hands, unleashing the second layer of the tiger and dragon roar technique. Dragon roar! In an instant, a sharp and urgent note suddenly burst forth, like the sudden eruption of a 100-foot wave on a calm blue sea. A fierce dragon suddenly emerged from the sea, roaring angrily at close range. The roar shattered eardrums and made the blood boil. The rapidly spinning turtle demon was no exception. Its shell could deflect most attacks, but it could not block the pervasive sound waves. The flesh inside the shell was instantly blasted through the gaps in the shell. Arg! Xianxia let out a painful roar. "Stop! Stop it!" Jiang Fan did not stop. Instead, he played even more urgently. From within the shell came the sound of flesh being pulverized by the music. Xianxia couldn't hold on any longer. The spinning shell came to a stop. The flames from the array flags once again enveloped it, causing it to wail in agony. It let out a venomous roar. "Brat, if I die, you won't have it easy either." It took a deep breath. The demonic essence blood of the demon emperor, turned into a dark red aura, was immediately sucked into its mouth. Jiang Fan's eyelids twitched. He didn't need to think to know that this last strike would be immensely powerful. He decisively threw aside the white jade ancient zither. With his other hand, he took out the last cloud-burst iron ball. Seizing the moment while Xianxia was inhaling, he threw it into its mouth. Xianxia's eyes bulged, realizing something was wrong, and it tried to close its mouth. But the suction was too strong, and it swallowed the cloud-burst iron ball. It showed a look of panic and roared, "You, what did you throw in?" Jiang Fan did not respond. With a single thought, the primordial explosion iron ball immediately detonated. Boom, a small mushroom cloud rose into the air. Inside the array flags there was no more movement. Only an empty, huge turtle shell remained. Xianxia's body was blown to smithereens. Fan Xingkang felt a chill down his spine. Xianxia, just like that, was dead. Taking advantage of his slightly recovered condition, he quickly stomped and fled towards the cave entrance. Clang, but just as he moved. Behind him, a sharp sound wave struck, sending him crashing into the wall. Poof! Already gravely injured, Fan Xingkang spat out another mouthful of blood. He quickly got up and cupped his hands, saying, fellow Taoist, please wait. There is no enmity between us. Why must you push me so hard? Jiang Fan said indifferently. I do not want the matter of me acquiring these treasures to spread. So I have no choice but to ask you to die. Fan Xingkang hurriedly waved his hands, saying, No, I do not know your true form. Even if I spread the news, how would it help? Jiang Fan laughed. With a look that seemed both amused and unamused, he said, Elder Fan, you are quite the actor. I do not believe you haven't figured out who I am. After speaking, he directly tore off the turtle breath cloak on his body, revealing his true appearance. Let's not talk about how Jiang Fan's clothing already revealed that he was a Green Cloud Sect disciple when he showed his legs earlier. Just by the voice alone, Fan Xingkang couldn't possibly not recognize it as Jiang Fan's. He deliberately pretended not to know, only to appear weak at first. Once he recovered, he would certainly cause trouble for Jiang Fan. This was why Jiang Fan had to kill him to silence him, because his identity had been exposed. Sure enough, upon seeing Jiang Fan's true appearance, Fan Xingkang was not greatly surprised. He calmly said, All right, I admit it, I guessed it was you. But since you discovered the things here, it means you are fated with them. I won't snatch them, nor will I leak this to others. If you don't believe me, I can swear to the heavens. Jiang Fan hesitated for a moment, saying, Fine, considering we are both from the 9th Sect, swear to the heavens that you won't reveal today's events. Fan Xingkang immediately held up 2 fingers and swore, I, Fan Xingkang, swear to the heavens, halfway through his words. His pupils shrank as he noticed. At some unknown time, Jiang Fan had summoned the 5-colored array flag and threw it fiercely at him. What are you doing? Fan Xingkang shouted loudly, his figure retreating rapidly. He narrowly dodged the encirclement of the 5-colored array flag. Jiang Fan squinted his eyes. What do you think I'm doing? Of course, it's to not give you the chance to stall for time, swearing to the heavens. If that really worked, would people still need to be wary of each other? Having his thoughts exposed, Fan Xingkang snorted angrily. Damn you! Do you think I'm as easy to deal with as that turtle demon? Even if I am heavily injured, you can't handle me. He grabbed into his bosom and pulled out a handful of pitch-black iron balls, flinging them fiercely at Jiang Fan. He then dragged his heavily injured body, struggling to escape towards the cave entrance. Jiang Fan, without thinking, drew the Sorrow Frost sword. With a casual slash, he shattered all the incoming iron balls. Fan Xingkang looked back, revealing a cunning expression, laughing loudly. Fool! Do you think it's that simple when I make a move? The shattered iron balls released thick black poison gas, surging into the depths of the cave like a tide. These were the highly toxic poison gas that had been left behind in the treasure he had dug up. The giant sect had turned them into deadly hidden weapons. Even late-stage core formation martial artists would have their entire bodies rot upon contact. Fan Xingkang was usually reluctant to use them. Such good things would get fewer with each use. Today, to save his life, he used all the poison pills he had been hoarding for years. Of course, the effect was excellent. With so much poison gas, Jiang Fan had nowhere to hide. At this moment, he must have been turned into a pool of blood in an instant. Fan Xingkang sneered, but suddenly, the poison gas was suddenly split apart by a fierce sword chi. A glimmer of purple light approached swiftly through the air. Upon seeing what it was clearly, Fan Xingkang's face turned pale with horror. The purple sword? The sword that killed our sect's great elder Tai Bubai? The culprit is you? He couldn't believe it. The culprit the giant sect had been searching for among the 9 sect turned out to be a mere disciple of the Green Cloud Sect. Feeling the terror of the purple sword, in that instant, he bit his tongue and activated some bizarre body-refining technique. All the muscles in his body flowed like liquid to his chest. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a bizarre creature with limbs as thin as sticks and a chest as swollen as a barrel. The purple sword stabbed into the huge mass of muscle concentrated in his chest, aiming for the heart. But the massive muscle mass was extremely tough. The purple sword was stuck halfway through. Immediately, the muscle mass flowed again, concentrating on his legs. His legs became as thick as horses' legs. With a powerful kick, he exploded with more speed than he had even in his prime. In the blink of an eye, he leaped out of the cave, turning to laugh sinisterly towards the inside. Jiang Fan, you're finished. Prepare to face the giant sect's endless pursuit. Ha ha ha. Inside the cave, the poison gas swirled. Jiang Fan's clothes were corroded all over, yet his body was intact. He looked indifferently at the smug Fan Xingkang and said calmly, "Do you really think you can escape?" As soon as he finished speaking, a transparent, tangible spike shot out from between his eyebrows. Soul attacks ignored distance and barriers. In a flash, the spike entered Fan Xingkang's mind. "Ah!" Fan Xingkang immediately screamed in agony. It was as if a saw-bladed knife was savagely tearing through his soul. Even as a body refinement expert who had endured countless pains, he couldn't bear this kind of suffering. His screams didn't last long, because a streak of purple light then pierced his body, nailing him in midair and dragging him back to the cave, crashing heavily before Jiang Fan. Fan Xingkang spat out large amounts of blood, his soul in unbearable pain. He barely opened his eyes, revealing fear as he looked at the unscathed Jiang Fan. "Impossible, how could you be fine?" Jiang Fan pulled the purple sword from him, saying indifferently, "Go have a good chat with Tai Bubai." With that, he stabbed Fan Xingkang's head. "No!" Fan Xingkang's unwilling roar was abruptly cut off. His eyes wide open, filled with deep resentment. He couldn't believe it. He had died just like that, and at the hands of a junior. Jiang Fan put away his sword and exhaled slightly. "Killing you people really isn't easy." These powerful figures, having cultivated to a certain realm, had countless unpredictable means. Even his sword control technique was blocked, and this was when they were gravely injured and near death. If they were at their peak, Jiang Fan had no doubt he couldn't even harm a hair on them. Had it not been for mastering the soul-shocking stab, he wouldn't have been able to stop Fan Xingkang today. The consequences would have been predictable. He checked Fan Xingkang's body. Only found some body-refining materials, nothing valuable. These materials were useful to him before. Now they were chicken ribs. The Xianxia was blown to pieces. Only the giant turtle shell remained, and an extremely hard, damaged demon core. Jiang Fan certainly kept the demon core. It was proof of slaying the Beast King. As for the turtle shell, Jiang Fan knew its toughness. It should be excellent for crafting defensive magical treasures. Luckily, Jiang Fan had a large space storage device to hold it. Otherwise, he would have had to leave it reluctantly. With a thought, the turtle shell as big as a small mountain was stored in the space storage device. Finally, Fan Xingkang's body. It bore many marks of sound wave and swordsmanship attacks. To prevent the giant sect from investigating, Jiang Fan burned it to ashes with a fire. This way, Fan Xingkang's disappearance could be entirely attributed to the Beast King Tide's attack. Like perhaps his body was eaten by the Beast Kings after cleaning up the scene. Jiang Fan once again donned the turtle breath cloak and silently left the cave. The outside battle had already ended. Without Fan Xingkang, the fate of the giant sect members was obvious. How could a few 4th and 5th level core formation deacons withstand the siege of dozens of Beast Kings? Without exception, they all perished. But the Beast Kings also suffered heavy losses. The huge corpses of 5 4th level core formation Beast Kings lay in the cold snow. No, these weren't corpses. They were 5 demon cores of Beast Kings, worth 100 merit points. How could Jiang Fan miss this? He immediately sneaked to the bodies while the Beast Kings were searching for Xianxia. He approached a Beast King. At the right spot, he slashed the body and extracted the demon core. Then the second body, the third body. When he reached the 5th body and took out its demon core, suddenly it darkened above his head. A sinister voice, cold and carried by the wind, came from above. "Are 5 demon cores enough?" It wasn't anyone else. It was the pangolin demon, Black Z. It was laughing angrily. It was grieving over the loss of 5 subordinates. It watched helplessly as someone, invisible, cut open a body and took out the demon core. In front of so many demon beasts, how could this guy dare? As soon as the words were spoken, it harshly struck at the spot where the demon core floated. Unexpectedly, Jiang Fan reacted even faster. As it raised its claw, Jiang Fan reflexively used a sword control technique. With nothing uncut by the purple sword, it pierced through the pangolin's sharp claw, sending snowflakes flying. Roar Black Z let out a sharp cry of pain. Jiang Fan quickly put away the demon core and said leisurely, asking if I have enough. Are you planning to send me some more? Black Z was furious. It had seen arrogance, but never this level of arrogance. With so many mid-stage core formation beast kings here, even late-stage human cultivators wouldn't easily come. This thief who stole the demon core after being discovered didn't flee but dared to talk big. Everyone, attack! The surrounding beast kings, stirred by the commotion, immediately unleashed their divine skills in rage. They launched a furious attack on the nearby area. Though Jiang Fan couldn't be seen, the carpet bombing was sure to injure him. Actually, this was beneficial for Jiang Fan. The chaos helped him act while invisible. The noisy environment would cover his presence and sounds. With a quick glance, he focused on a demon beast at the 4th level of core formation. Charging up the power of thunder and lightning in his feet, he suddenly attacked. Thunder, Dragon, Lightning Leg? The demon beast's defense was indeed strong, comparable to the 5th level of core formation. But Thunder, Dragon, Lightning Leg was designed to break defenses. With a bang, a bloody hole appeared on its thickly scaled back. Then, with a flash of purple light, the purple sword pierced through the bloody hole, directly through its skull and out through its eye. Roar! It let out a long, painful cry before collapsing to the ground, writhing in agony. Seeing this, Black Z furiously took action itself. It slapped the ground firmly. Instantly, the ground melted as if turning into a swamp. Walking on it became extremely difficult. Most importantly, it left footprints. There, Black Z immediately spotted Jiang Fan's tracks. The Beast Kings were enraged. They all launched an attack. Jiang Fan frowned slightly. A demon beast that could speak human language was never simple. He decisively jumped onto a demon beast's corpse, then quickly moved back and forth between several demon beast corpses. Seizing the opportunity, another Thunder, Dragon, Lightning Leg broke through the defense of a demon beast at the 4th level of core formation, followed by a sword control technique to assassinate it. Repeating the process, he successively killed 3 demon beasts at the 3rd level of core formation. Black Z was completely outraged. Human, enough! It immediately spat out a yellow demon core hovering near its mouth. The demon core emitted a yellow aura, illuminating the entire battlefield. The ground instantly became as smooth as a yellow bronze mirror. It clearly reflected the silhouettes of the demon beasts. Even Jiang Fan, who was invisible, couldn't escape. His young and slender figure was revealed clearly. Black Z was shocked. Since when did the 9 Sect land have such an amazing young prodigy? If it were the rumored Xia Caoj or Jin Zhangming, it wouldn't be surprised, but the youth before it was clearly not them. At only 18 years old, he could kill several 4th-level core formation Beast Kings amid Beast Kings. Given time, what would he become? Black Z felt a massive threat and immediately roared. Kill him! At all costs, kill him! Jiang Fan's expression changed slightly. Where would he dare to wait for the Beast Kings to surround him? He directly launched a soul attack at Black Z. Soul-shocking stab! Roar! Black Z, who had been directing from behind, suddenly collapsed in excruciating pain, letting out agonizing roars. Even more shocking. A purple gleam flashed in its pupils. It quickly closed its eyes in fright. Thick scales covered its eyes, but in an instant, the scales were pierced and the purple sword shot through its eyes, blinding it. Roar! Black Z let out another piercing scream, but its reaction wasn't slow. It decisively activated its innate ability. The beast blood within turned into large quantities of sand, spraying from its eyes. The purple sword failed to continue its path into its skull and was sprayed out. Despite this, its consciousness blurred. The soul-shocking stab had destroyed most of its soul. Feeling the darkness closing in, it panicked, if it fainted here. Who knew when it would wake up again? Maybe tomorrow, maybe in the next life. Retreat! Protect me, quickly retreat! Before passing out, it gave its subordinates one last order. This little human fiend it couldn't provoke but could avoid, right? Thus, the Beast Kings had no choice but to abandon Jiang Fan, carrying Black Z's massive body off the battlefield quickly. Whoosh! Jiang Fan let out a slight breath. Taking off the turtle breath cloak, his face was somewhat pale. Capturing the leader before dealing with the minions is indeed correct. Using soul-shocking stab twice in succession had greatly depleted his soul. If these Beast Kings had been relentless in their attack, it would have been truly dangerous. After all, among them, Black Z was not the only one at the 5th level of core formation. Looking at the 4 newly slain 4th-level core formation demon beasts, Jiang Fan unceremoniously collected all their demon cores. Adding these, he now had 10 demon cores in total. Converted, that was 2 first-level mission merits. The first time I made a move, I earned 200 merit points. Jiang Fan glanced at the retreating Beast King group heading toward the front lines of the Beast Tide, smiling slightly. These were all shining merits. He casually summoned, storing the bodies of the demon beasts in the heavenly thunder stone. Then he called nearby Bai. Jiang Fan donned the turtle breath cloak, while Bai's patterns shifted and both entered invisible states, silently tailing the group. When he spotted a lone demon beast at the 4th level of core formation, Jiang Fan mercilessly used the Thunder Dragon Lightning Leg, breaking its defense, then dealt a fatal blow with his sword, Roar, as it collapsed. The advancing Beast Kings were filled with anger and shock. That little human fiend had caught up. Immediately, they angrily sought to hunt down Jiang Fan. But Jiang Fan had already retreated decisively after the kill, taking advantage of his invisibility. Where could these Beast Kings find him, after a fruitless search? They had no choice but to follow Black Z's order to retreat. The body of the 4th level core formation demon beast. They had no time to care, leaving it behind. Soon after, Jiang Fan came forward satisfied and took the demon core. The spiritual meat was dug out and rewarded to Bai. Wow, following Big Brother is truly great. Bai munched on the spiritual meat, wagging its tail happily. Last time it had clam meat, this time spiritual meat from a mid-stage core formation demon beast. These were blessings it didn't even dare dream of. Jiang Fan looked at its round belly and smiled. Enough for you these days? After a brief rest, he discreetly followed again. In the following days, the Beast King Tide was in extreme distress. They would rather face a late-stage core formation human head-on than be tormented by Jiang Fan. Because this little human fiend was shameless, he never attacked directly. Either a 4th level core formation demon beast had its throat slit while resting, or they were poisoned while drinking water. One unlucky Beast King was even stabbed with an ice-cold sword while urinating. After each kill, he would retreat without hesitation, never giving the 5th level core formation Beast Kings a chance to strike back. After several days, they didn't dare rest, drink water, or even relieve themselves. Quick, cross the mountain range ahead and we're in the demon race territory. Black Z had long woken up, its heavily injured body trembling in fear, not daring to sleep for a moment, afraid that it would be the next to get eliminated. At the same time, on the mountain peak, Xia Caoj, Jin Zhongming, and Liang Feiyan were panting heavily. In front of them lay the massive corpse of a 4th level core formation demon beast. Liang Feiyan dug out the demon core and glanced at Jin Zhongming, saying, "Junior sister Xia contributed the most. No objections to giving her this demon core, right?" Jin Zhongming looked reluctant, but still said, "Of course not. If junior sister Xia hadn't arrived in time, junior brother Liang and I might have lost our lives." He looked at his own injuries and tattered battle robe, and resentfully defended himself. Demon beasts at the 4th level of core formation are much stronger than expected. If others encountered them, they might not have held out until junior sister Xia came to help. To this, Liang Feiyan deeply agreed. He had almost lost his life several times earlier. This time, many mid-stage core formation Beast Kings have crossed the front lines. If our fellow disciples encounter them, they can only hope for the best. He sighed slightly. Worried at this moment, he noticed Xia Caoj gazing into the distance with a hint of surprise in her eyes. "Junior sister Xia, what are you looking at?" Liang Feiyan asked curiously. Xia Caoj, uncertain, replied, "I seem to see someone chasing a group of Beast Kings."